was $100,000 over the asking price. They're told the new owner is an investor from Los Gatos, California, and they are planning to turn the home into an Airbnb that will replicate the actual Poltergeist film set. In other words, each room will have furniture, decor, I guess with that creepy-ass doll that makes the space look just how it looked in the film. The 2,300-square-foot home includes 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, large swimming pool, and a jacuzzi. This was Steven Spielberg's supernatural flick, which, by the way, I think... Is it true? Was it buried on an Indian burial ground? I know that was the movie, but was this house actually? Because it did have hauntings.
I think they actually did use authentic Indian burial ground materials and skeletons and stuff in the movie. And I think some of the cast came out afterwards saying that...
half cast dead. Like weird, freaky accidents.
Yeah, a bunch of accidents, and then other people came out and said that they had to lay on the real bones and stuff for some scenes.
Shut up.
And they didn't know that it was real until later.
Shut up. I would file a class action suit.
Against Spielberg?
I'd want out.
It's only like 3 or 4 people. You get a class action.
How do I break the spell is what I'd be asking.
Hey, an argument over who stole Vienna sausages at a coastal Georgia nursing home ended with one man being stabbed.
Oh, no.
Tybee Island police said they were called to a nursing home last week where they found a man had been stabbed in the chest. Investigators say one man accused another of stealing his can of Vienna sausages. During the argument, one man pulled out a knife, stabbed the other. It's unclear if the man who was stabbed was the one who lost the sausages or not. Injured resident was taken to the hospital. No word on his condition. The other resident, whose identity has not been released, was arrested and charged with aggravated assault, possession of a knife during the commission of a crime. It is still unclear if the Vienna sausages were stolen. Does he get thrown out of the retirement community for stabbing another guy?
Don't know what it's like in the rule book, but I would say yes. That would be reasons for expulsion.
I mean, isn't he already technically in life solitary confinement anyway? So it's hard to penalize him once he's there.
So
he did post "I'm sorry" on social media though. So
I knew of a guy that actually had a heart attack. Was in the hospital. His wife got his phone and found a bunch of stuff that shouldn't have been in there. He died in the hospital. This is just a few years ago. It wasn't a friend of mine, but it was through another person that I know well, and they were telling me this story. But he passed away in the hospital and had him cremated, and they've got young kids and everything, and his body didn't leave. He basically was a man in the box for the rest of eternity. Got a story like this right here.
What do you mean man in a box for the rest of eternity?
Well, I mean, there was no funeral. There was, he died.
So the wife got so beat up about it, she didn't do the funeral?
Her and the kids are traumatic. They go into the hospital, and while he's on ventilator or whatever, she's going through his phone and seeing pictures and text and all that stuff, and then he passes away, and she's like, what are we going to do with the body? Do you want to take it to a funeral home? No, I want you to cremate it, and we're going to leave it here. You guys can do with it what you want.
How do you explain that to the kids?
I don't know. Again, I didn't know the guy personally, but it's a true story. But how about this one? A woman discovered that her husband was living a secret life after he unexpectedly died on a business trip. The man she thought she had a perfect marriage with had multiple affairs, had been visiting escorts, and spending a ton of hours downloading and categorizing porn. Jessica Waite made the discovery almost immediately.
He's got type A personality? He's downloading and categorizing.
Now, this is her husband of 17 years. Sean died of a heart attack while in Texas on business. She reacted to her husband's secret life by desecrating and even eating his ashes. Now, while searching for the Houston hospital where her husband's body was being stored on his iPad, she made her first discovery of his secret life. According to the Daily Mail, as she typed in the word Houston from the couple's home in Calgary, Canada, the search auto-filled in Houston escorts. Waite then discovered a search history that included prices and locations for Houston escorts, and that was just the beginning of what she found. In months following her husband's death, she learned that he cheated on her with multiple women in one apartment in Colorado. She details all this in her book, The Widow's Guide to Dead Bastards.
Well, wait to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
First of all, she's aged a lot since wedding day, just by the left to right picture.
I think it's been a long wedding for her.
17 years.
But Jessica, I'll go ahead and tell you, I would not eat his ashes. I would have forced some of those whores to eat his ashes.
Yeah, that is a weird step. I understand a lot of what she did there, but the eating of the ashes is strange.
Yeah, in this book, The Escorts and Affairs, all just part of the story. Waite found an incredible amount of porn on Sean's personal computer, spent many hours, even lied about working late, downloading and categorizing his collection. Quote, during bad spells, Sean would often be up working with the Matrix between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. Waite wrote in the book, and some nights he was at it.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios. The next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, new show now on a Tuesday. Upset alert later on. One programming change. Payton Thorne's with us next segment. Clay Travis at 10. Roman Harper moving his appearance up to 10:30 today, 10:30 Central Time instead of on Thursday.
Why?
He wants to talk Alabama football with us, so you may want to jump in. He wants to jump on 2 days early.
That's right.
Because he's so pumped up about sharing some Alabama information with us. That's happening at 10:30 Central today. We'll talk to Michael Eady later on about the big basketball game coming to town down at Boutwell. He'll be with us at 11:45 as Alabama gets a chance to play Wake Forest in the preseason. Developing news, if you have not been paying attention, another massive hurricane is in the Gulf and heading for Florida. Milton is expected to make landfall. Last I saw last night, sometime Wednesday, already a Cat 5. Am I right about that, Brownie? Cat 5 hurricane already?
I think that's right, but I think I saw they don't expect it to arrive at Florida as a Cat 5.
Yeah.
I think I saw that correctly. I saw a little thing yesterday from some guy down there who
that it's a Cat 5 now by the time it gets there.
I think they expect it to be a Cat 3, but still very, very serious, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not a meteorologist.
What part of Florida is it hitting?
Tampa.
Right at the Tampa area.
So South Florida on Friday night's done?
Yeah, well, I'm getting to that. But on the hurricane, here's the developing news. The game scheduled Friday with Memphis and South Florida has been moved to Saturday because of Hurricane Milton. Game time on Saturday still to be determined for that. Cincinnati and UCF in Orlando, just up I-4 from Tampa, is right now not impacted by this. So that game moved from Friday night to Saturday.
I would imagine like Florida, too, might have to travel early. I mean, their normal travel day would be a Friday up to Knoxville. I wonder if they have to get out like tomorrow and try to find a place to practice up there.
Buccaneers are leaving today to go to New Orleans. They play New Orleans on Sunday, so they're leaving from the Tampa area today. Talking with a couple of friends who work in television down there, two of them, my buddy Brian and my buddy James, who I used to work with here in Birmingham. Both work in TV. I texted them last night, hey, are you guys leaving? Because they're evacuating a lot of places, especially if you got the water surge. They're expecting to be 10, 12, 15, 18 feet, depending on where you are. They said, no, you know us. We work in local TV. They're telling us we got to sleep at the station. And I'm like, oh, my goodness.
Well, I saw your stadium there. They've already got cots all over the field. That's going to be an evacuation point like the Superdome was for Katrina.
It must be a high point.
I guess so. I don't know.
Because you're talking water surge.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be. I was listening to the Tampa mayor last night. She is saying if you stay behind in the areas we're telling you to get out, you will not survive, is what she said last night.
Yeah,
I've never said that before.
I've never understood that. And look, I know there's some people might be in a situation where it's so difficult to move certain people.
Or where do you go if you may not?
Yeah, but man, I mean, that's the scariest thing about tornadoes to me, or earthquakes. You know, we've got all these natural disasters. Tornado, man, you can have a beautiful day, and then by the afternoon, it flips on a dime, and you don't have an opportunity to go anywhere.
Well, if you're the first community where it develops, like where the tornado first develops, and you're that first community, often you get very little warning. Like, you know, a lot of times you can, especially here in the state, like you're in the path and you got plenty of time, but there's times you got no warning. That's the good news with a hurricane.
Yeah, that is. You do have the heads up.
I mean, they've had a week knowing this thing was heading this way. This has been talked about for quite a while now. So very unfortunate, man. And just hope to God that it weakens and limits damage.
But it's pretty close. It could, wobble one way or the other and be on the same path as the last one. Was that last week, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, the good news on this one, especially for our good friends up in North Carolina and Georgia and Tennessee and all those issues, it looks like it's going to go across Florida and out into the Atlantic. Yeah. It's not going to.
But then it will keep its formation, and then it may whip back around into the Carolinas.
Get to that colder water.
Don't give the Carolinas any.
God, I hope not, man. I mean, our infrastructure obviously is awful right now. We can't handle anything going on. That's the last thing we need. It's more.
I mean, it's just incredible, some of the stuff. I mean, did you see Marty's concert?
Yeah.
Well, Marty doesn't own it, but he's part of a group that's putting on a concert at Bank of America.
to benefit everybody in the mountains.
Every dime. I think it's all the costs are covered, and I think all the artists are doing it for free. It's Luke Combs, James Taylor. There was one more big name.
Church got in on
Eric
it.
Church, Luke Combs, James Taylor.
That's great.
I think Church and Marty.
I
think Church started it off.
So they're good. I think all Combs and James Taylor and Church have donated their time and their crews and all that. So they're going to do it as cheaply as possible. And every dollar raised goes to the relief. So that's really cool.
We do have a kick time now for that Memphis USF game, according to Brett McMurphy, 2:30 Central on Saturday. But both schools and conferences say they'll reassess after the storm passes through on Wednesday. So our thoughts and prayers to those of you that listen to us down there in the state of Florida or associated with those programs, something we'll keep an eye on. Again, the biggest games, Memphis and South Florida, Cincinnati and UCF are the ones in the path that could be directly impacted. Travel impacted for the Buccaneers flying to New Orleans early because of that Hurricane Milton that's in the Gulf. We said it was going to be, active hurricane season. So far, it's been that. We did have a 100-degree kickoff this past week at Lincoln. I think I predicted we'd have one of the latest ones of that. 97 feel like 104 in Lincoln, Nebraska this past weekend with the wind blowing
That's crazy.
at 45 miles per hour. Just crazy wind in that game.
And it affected the game. I don't know if you guys watched any of that, but it was a 14-7 Nebraska win. It was about as ugly a game as you could get. But, I mean, you couldn't hardly throw the ball. Couldn't kick the ball. It was just a complete mess.
We always talk about wind. Wind's more than rain or snow or any of that. Wind impacts you the most.
Oh, I mean, I don't know about a fan, like sitting in a game. I don't know if you'd rather deal with wind or that ice rain that we dealt with at the 2000 Iron Bowl in Tuscaloosa.
That was miserable.
I mean, you can't win with either, right?
Yeah, you really can't.
But you know, it's crazy.
Have perfect weather.
When I got up this morning and let the dogs out, I was like, "Oh my God, it's cold out!" Like I had no idea it was going to be chilly this morning.
53 when I got in the truck this morning.
Yeah, it felt great.
Oh yeah, this is perfect. Let's leave it as is.
But on the flip side of that, it's going up to 84 today, so it's a 31 degree.
Oh, I didn't
swing
see
throughout
that.
the day.
I saw that the high was like 71. Are you sure?
Oh yeah, it's in the 80s today.
Well, I thought it was 84.
I've seen 80, but you'll get you'll get all the seasons here today.
Yeah, 53.
Yeah, the high is 79, at least according to mine.
Yeah. So a little weather to start off the show with, and serious times out there. We'll jump into everything else that's going on in the sports. What we saw last night, show being brought to you in part by our friends at Hemp Hill Lock of the day. They bring you Lance's Lock, lanceslock.com. Last night, the Chiefs the winner, 26-13. And you had a couple of baseball games. All the series are even at 1-1. You can play the games at lanceslock.com.
Yeah, I had the Chiefs and under last night. Another winning week in the NFL, another winning week in college football. We're 4-2 in Major League Baseball postseason. We're killing it right now this October. Jump on board and win with us at lanceslock.com. $100 a month. You get a free play every single day. And it's always brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill, 205-229-2090. Trusted name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. If you have any of those in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
Kyle over in Athens, 54 degrees there this morning. Kyle, thanks for listening. Or up in Athens. It could be Athens, Alabama. It could be Athens, Greece. That would be a little cool for Athens, Greece this time of year. But either way, whatever Athens you're in, could be Athens, Kentucky. Spelled like Athens at 54. That'd be normal for you there. Wherever you are, Kyle, thanks for watching and listening today. Storm Restoration Roofing, reminding you that if you are hit by one of these late summer, early fall storms, Greg from Pell City is there to help you out. He'll get on that roof with a free no-cost roof inspection. Free no-cost roof inspection. He's A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. And several new homes, if you follow Storm Restoration Roofing on Instagram, that they have been working on. They'll throw that sign in your front yard like the one they were working on in Odenville there a few weeks ago. And they'll get the work done for you. Get on that roof for free, give you that free no-cost roof inspection, no obligation either. But when it's time to replace your roof, we've got some roof damage, anything like that, Greg will take care of you. Storm Restoration Roofing, 205-542-3531, 542-3531. Or just look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City. Always good to have a good, trustworthy roofer on that dial list for you on your phone. 20 years locally owned and A+ rated. That's Greg from Pell City in Storm Restoration Roofing. That Chiefs win last night. Do you have something else?
Yeah, there's been a firing. Yeah, breaking news in the NFL, and this can't come as a huge surprise. The Jets have just punted Robert Saleh.
Well, I mean, it is a surprise because I would imagine that this tells me Aaron Rodgers didn't like him.
Yeah, I think 100%.
No, that's exactly what it was, because, they're 2-3, and it's not a disaster yet. But I don't think a new coach is going to make Aaron Rodgers better. Like, we were talking about this on Unlocked yesterday with Brock Heward. His skill set's never going to be the same. It's just not, he might have an off game or one of these one-offs where he goes for 335 and 3 touchdowns and no picks. But the way this offense is pressing, not good. The lack of communication between Saleh and Aaron Rodgers.
Well, Saleh's a defensive guy. He doesn't call the plays, so
no,
the OC's his old buddy, right?
But when you come out and you say it was cadence, and then you get Aaron Rodgers last week saying, I've used the same cadence since I was a rookie.
Yep. Rodgers did not like that.
Look, and Saleh's, he's never had a winning record. He's in his 4th year. He's 20-36 overall. It's been pathetic.
Yeah. Adam Schefter, the first to report that, to give due credit there, according to his sources, and now many are jumping on that Robert Saleh has been fired. And you also wonder if Saleh was against maybe a trade for Devontae Adams. Maybe Saleh's like, no, we can win with what we got. And Aaron Rodgers won the internal powers. It'll be interesting now to see if they go get, because there'll be an interim coach who's really got no power. He's just a placeholder.
It would probably be the offensive coordinator's a friend with Aaron Rodgers. Probably gets promoted.
So it'll be interesting, Lance, to see if the Jets now follow this up by going and getting Devontae Adams to make Aaron Rodgers happy.
Well, the interesting thing is, like, if you're Robert Saleh, though, why would you not want Devontae Adams? Like, this is it. It's make or break. So I don't know if that was the conversation. Nathaniel Hackett, is the OC that was the former head coach for the Denver Broncos.
Which was a complete disaster, by the way.
And the OC when Green Bay was having a lot of success with Aaron Rodgers. Yep. So I would assume he's going to be the guy. But, yes, it was a disaster in Denver. I don't know how much better it gets.
So you don't like Robert Saleh as a coach? You made it sound.
No. I will say,
good defense coordinator.
To be fair to Robert Saleh, he has been horribly hamstrung at the quarterback position.
He is.
Yeah.
His entire time there. And even when they got a good one, the guy got hurt on the 4th play of the season.
That impacts you, though.
No, it does. But, again, if you're a really good coach, you learn how to win with not elite quarterbacks.
Okay, what was Nick Saban with the Dolphins? Was pretty bad. I mean, he's a good coach.
Yeah, but
Nick Saban was 9-7, 6-10.
Yeah. So Saleh is less than that, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Saleh's never had a winning record.
Yeah, he's only been a coach one time.
But now Nick Saban,
right? 4 years though.
I will say,
with who is the kid they drafted? Who nobody wants?
Oh, Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean, was he not part of that?
I mean, he was part of the crew that drafted him. So you got to wear that.
Yeah. Pete Carroll was horrible with the Patriots, was he not? And he got in the right organization and became a legend at USC and.
Well, maybe Robert Saleh will make that advancement, 10, 15 years down the road. All I know is there's other coaches in this league that have won with multiple quarterbacks. I brought it up. Sean McVay's been in the league 7 years. He's only had one losing season.
And who have his quarterbacks been?
You have Jared Goff, who Jared Goff wasn't good back then, got him to a Super Bowl. Obviously, Matt Stafford, but, he won a playoff game with John Wolford.
Yeah, he did.
So apparently you're a big Saleh guy.
No, I'm not. I was just saying. You said it's been horrible, and
it has been.
And I just asked you, did you like him? Because I love him as a defensive coordinator.
There's great coordinators that just don't equate to great head coaches.
No, I think he will be a hot property as a defensive coordinator.
And I'll say this too: the Jets are a terrible organization overall. I mean, there's a reason they haven't won or been to a Super Bowl in 55 years.
Kansas City wins last night, 26-13 over New Orleans. In this situation now, KC, Minnesota, the only unbeaten teams left. Do you feel like was it last year that you guys, or was it 2 years ago that Minnesota was deep into the season unbeaten or one loss? And I think it was you, Brown, that kept saying
fraud.
They
House
were
of Cards. Yeah, if you watched them, you could tell they were House of Cards. And as soon as they got in the postseason, what happened? The Giants went there and won.
Does it feel that way again?
That was a Kirk Cousins-led Vikings team, by the way. I don't have any more faith in Sam Darnold than I do Kirk Cousins, Lance, even though the way he's playing like almost an MVP quarterback.
Yeah, I think the difference here, Sam Darnold getting that second shot. Kevin O'Connell is one of the best offensive coaches in football, but I think the difference is Brian Flores, your former head coach, coming over, and this defense has been lights out. They've got the best point differential in all of football. I don't think it's been a fluke. They've always had the parts. The fear was, are they going to be able to do this with a rookie quarterback? Now, I don't know if J.J. McCarthy would have started or not. Good for Sam Darnold. He's getting this opportunity, but I think Minnesota's legitimate. I mean, if you were asking me right now, best team in the NFC, I think I probably would go Detroit or Minnesota.
It's got small St. Louis Rams vibes. I mean, Sam Darnold's more, I guess, more accomplished than Kurt Warner was. I don't know. Sam Darnold's been a pretty big failure.
But Kurt Warner wasn't even drafted.
I know. To lose who you thought was going to be your starter in J.J. McCarthy in the preseason, like the Rams did, and then to all of a sudden get really good with a quarterback you had no expectation of. I mean, it's got a little bit of those vibes.
With great receivers.
Well, I mean,
starts with a great receiver.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson's as good as Torrey Holt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Torrey Holt was your best receiver on that team. So, I mean, it does have a little bit of that old Rams vibe.
But, I do think that, you look at the other side in Kansas City coming off the loss last night. Two things out of that game, really. New Orleans, talking about a house of cards, those first 2 weeks, they were completely dominant. You talk to a lot of insiders. Hey, I think this New Orleans team is for real. They've lost 3 consecutive games since. They get doubled up basically in every offensive category last night. And, for Kansas City, just with Mahomes and Andy Reid, it really doesn't matter who's around these guys.
Yeah. 331 yards for Mahomes. Smith-Schuster had 130. Kareem Hunt, who they picked up off the pile, rushed for 102. Kelsey had 70 and ran one out of the shotgun and handed it off to Worthy for a touchdown. All the tricks out of the Andy Reid bag, and it looks smooth. They're sort of sleepwalking to 5-0.
Did you hear the story in the broadcast though about the center that was starting for the Saints? He was on the Vikings practice squad and was about to get a trip to London. He was going to get the trip to London, and apparently he was like, "Hey, benefit of being on the practice squad, I get to go to London." And they call him in and like, "Hey, by the way, we're letting you go. The Saints have picked you up off the pile here." And he started last night. He started for him. So he went from basically just a free trip to London to actually starting for the Saints on Monday Night Football.
Well, it wasn't just him. Everybody got abused by Chris Smith last night, or Chris Jones.
Chris Jones,
he's the
now that your guy is out, he's the best
guy,
interior lineman.
He breaks everything. Look, he only had 2 tackles last night, but he was so disruptive.
Yeah, they can't block him, and that was a third team center trying to block him some too.
It is the Chiefs' defense that people usually overlook. They go straight to Mahomes and Andy Reid, but
the defense is better.
They've been great.
Defense is better. Steve Spagnuolo, a guy that's got 4 rings, 3 with Kansas City, 1 with New York. His defenses are fantastic. Nick Bolton is one of the best linebackers out there. Had 11 tackles last night. But yeah, I think it's all about Kansas City's defense, and obviously Mahomes is a quarterback. Some of the way he improvises last night. I don't know. Did you guys see that one spin he did in the pocket?
Crazy. It was one where he looked like he got the first down, but they ruled him short.
Well, no, that was the second one. The first one, there was an incomplete pass, but it was just some ridiculous spin that he did in the pocket.
Yeah. But nobody was there. Like if the receiver had been there, it had been one of the greatest touchdown passes ever.
Yeah.
All right, so off and running, that's your NFL. A little college football before we get to Payton Thorne after LT tells you about the great folks at Michelson Laser Vision. Tell us about Michelson.
Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business, got the procedure done 21 years ago, over 21 years ago. Make the phone call that I made. If you wear the glasses, you wear the contacts, you're wasting money each and every year. I'm speaking from experience. Call 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. She's going to hook you up, schedule you for the hassle-free consultation. You have 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
Hey, and don't forget you can get the 2025 calendar celebrating Coach Nick Saban and the Saban era right now at danielmooreart.com. And his newest painting, The Legend, is out. The Legend, Daniel Moore's tribute to Coach Nick Saban and his 6 national championship seasons at the Capstone. Pre-order right now at danielmooreart.com, danielmooreart.com. Check out and see if they still have any more Nick Saban autograph prints. They went fast. There may be 1 or 2 still left if you want to go check that out. If there is, that benefits the Nick's Kids Foundation. danielmooreart.com, danielmooreart.com for The Legend and some other great Daniel Moore prints right there from our buddy Daniel Moore. Unbelievable. All right, college football. One off the field story that had some headlines, but again, this is the legal process that is being worked through. I'll remind you of that. But Georgia's Colby Young is charged with a misdemeanor battery charge, but also an assault of an unborn child. Played 2 years at Miami, now a receiver who gets playing time at Georgia. This was an arrest early on in Athens. And again, that is a legal proceeding. After that arrest that is still ongoing, some deniability from Colby's side and his girlfriend and what went on at the apartment, and they'll work that process out in Georgia. Also, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, as it relates to on the field for Georgia, this is a guy that's got 11 receptions. But this is not exactly a dynamic group of receivers for Georgia.
It's not, but you start to look transferring over from Miami. Production-wise, he's been one of the best of the bunch. Obviously, this is the more important matter right now. This is crazy, though. We dog out Urban Meyer for all of the arrests in Florida. And look, I'm not saying Kirby Smart's got a serial killer on this roster. But, man, when does it stop?
I don't know. It is.
And is this more of a reflection of what you've got now with transfer and NIL?
But it's not. I don't see this at other schools. Who else is getting this players that have legal troubles at this volume?
Well, nobody
really.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say about it. I don't know how.
Yeah, and here's the biggest problem, Dunaway. Like, if Georgia loses another 2 or 3 games and you go back-to-back years not going to a college football playoff and you've got all these arrests, like, a lot of people can stomach it as long as you're winning championships. But when you don't win championships and you've got all these arrests, it becomes a much bigger problem.
For Kirby's job status?
I'm just talking about perception. Kirby's
his job status is fine.
Yeah.
But fans, look, people talk all day Saturday and Sunday and some yesterday about Kalen DeBoer wearing a T-shirt on the sidelines.
The most asinine conversation I've had in the history of Alabama football.
But why was it a conversation?
Because he lost.
Well, they were talking about it before,
They were, but if Alabama goes out and looks dominant, how many people say anything about that T-shirt? Not one person.
Yeah. By the way, Lane Kiffin looks like he's ready for bed.
Lane Kiffin makes a wardrobe change at halftime sometimes.
It's insanity to talk about our coaches used to wear collared shirts.
Yeah. Well, our coaches used to wear suits and ties on the side.
Hey, I'll tell you this, Kirby
too.
Smart, greatest coach in Georgia history. But if he was, after this season, let's just say retire. We've talked about him ending careers early, or he might be one of these guys that taps out earlier than most people believe. But if he was to go 9-3, not make a college football playoff, tap out, and you get some more arrest, I just don't. I think the legacy would be somewhat tarnished.
Boy, tapping out. Can you imagine?
But we have talked about that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like Kirby not wanting to coach until his late 60s. I'm just saying the arrest, it's not a big deal until you start losing.
I do wonder if he's ever an NFL guy. Like, do you think Kirby would ever consider coaching in the NFL?
Well, I didn't want to bring this up, but more likely being an NFL guy. The way they play offense in the NFL is
Kalen DeBoer.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
Well, and this could be a situation where DeBoer could go 10-2, go to a college football playoff, all the shit he hears about his T-shirt and unable to recruit and the defense, shootouts, all that kind of stuff. You never know.
Yeah, because until the loss this weekend, his offensive coordinator, who's basically running his system with the Seattle Seahawks, looked pretty good until they lost this weekend.
That is true.
Yeah, Ryan Grubb's done a really good job early on with the first-year head coach and Mike McDonald, but, they didn't look good against New York.
But they will be Danny Cannell brought it up to me last time I was on with them, and he was like, you think there's a future for Kalen DeBoer? And I was like, Danny, don't do this. They just beat Georgia. And but he's a guy that with that offensive scheme, that's just like Nate Oates in the NBA. That'll be a conversation you'll have to have someday.
I will tell you, I would much rather coach in the NFL now. Just based on the simple fact that the entitlement, I can't really discipline. Like Kalen DeBoer, that might be a situation where Malachi Moore's got pull in that locker room than Kalen DeBoer does.
I would just think, though, Jim Harbaugh left for what's viewed to be a good quarterback system. I still maintain Justin Herbert's unknown if that's a good quarterback system or not. Or a situation, not system, but situation. Those are just few and far between where a job comes open with an obvious, I'll give you a great example. If they do fire the guy in Jacksonville, whose name I can't say right now for some reason, Doug Peterson. If they do fire Doug Peterson.
You did perfect saying it.
I know. It once came to me. If they do fire Doug Peterson and you're an accomplished coach, do you jump on that situation?
I would believe if I'm an accomplished offensive guy that Trevor Lawrence has got a skill set. Yeah,
that Doug Peterson, who's taken a team to the Super Bowl, couldn't fix him, but I can.
Trevor looked good this past weekend.
Yeah, he did. They're 1-4 also.
I know. I'm just saying that there is something there.
Yeah.
Like they're in a better quarterback situation, I believe, than the Jets are with Aaron Rodgers.
Not just because of age,
not
right?
the contract, but yeah.
All I'm saying is, and I say this about Saban too. If I'm an accomplished coach, it's going to have to be a Super Bowl level quarterback for me to take that job. I'm not going to roll the dice.
I'm not going in for a rebuild.
A drafted quarterback. I'm not going to roll the dice. Look, there's a day where Andy Reid's going to retire, and everybody in the free world is going to want that job. And maybe they hire from within. I don't know. But, that's one where anybody in the world will jump at that one.
Colby Young done?
Well, you're always the one that reminds me, Jim.
Yep.
There's two sides to every story. So there's two sides to every story. But if there's any part of this is true, he won't see the weekend on the team.
No, I would agree.
Well, and I think because of the program he's in, Kirby is extra careful about this stuff.
Gotta be. Yeah. And, this is a situation you're playing Mississippi State. It doesn't matter who you dress. You're winning that. We pull that back now.
I don't know if I have no idea
anyway. You should win that game. There should be no excuse with none of these guys playing. And I think as you gather the facts, I don't see a path to him playing this weekend.
Yep. Me either. And while you're gathering the facts, and if there's any of it that turns out to be true, Kirby will have him gone by the weekend is my expectation. All right, that's a little college football. We'll talk to Payton Thorne coming up in the next segment, what Diego Pavia said on the Dan Patrick Show later on. We've got our upset alert still to come. But Payton Thorne, the Auburn quarterback, as the Tigers have the week off. In our next segment, that's being brought to you today in part by our friends at Odie's LT. Trivia tomorrow night, music coming up this weekend.
Yeah, me and Brown will be out there tomorrow night. The original location in Crestline, the newest location in Edgewood. Stop in, enjoy a great lunch or dinner. This fall weather, at least for the early part of lunch, should be great. From the award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches, including the Diablo sandwich, ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Live music on Fridays and Saturdays. Stop into one of those two great locations of Odie's Tavern.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Bryant Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair to kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short-notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President. Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1, find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2, stream it now. Miss Hour 3, download it for later. Miss Hour 4, well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Back with you on the next round. Payton Thorne popping on a bye week right now as Auburn coming off the defeat at Georgia, getting ready to get to the second half of their season at the midway point. And a little golfing hat on for the Auburn quarterback. Maybe a little R&R today? A little break?
So you got to get away, man. Get away.
All quarterbacks can golf, right?
That's right. Let's ask Payton if he can. Auburn quarterback Payton Thorne with us each week on the JohnsTNRVCenter.com hotline. What is up? First of all, Payton, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How about you guys?
Doing well. Do you play golf? Or you got the Tiger Woods hat on? Are you much of a golfer yourself?
I do. I love to play golf. Definitely a off-season hobby, I guess you'd say. But yeah, I feel like all quarterbacks should be able to play golf.
Do you have a certified USGA handicap? Do you keep a handicap?
I do. I don't know 100%. I can't remember what I finished at this summer, but somewhere between 5 and 7, I think, right now.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, again, quarterbacks.
Yeah, quarterbacks can play.
They know what they're doing out there.
Yep.
Hey, I think everybody's excited. I see you got a little crew neck on there. Everybody excited about the fall weather. You feel a little fall. You play Michigan State back in the day. What is the coldest game you've ever been a part of?
I'd say, going to high school in Chicago, we had a playoff game that was, single digit for sure. And then I'd say probably we played Indiana in 2022, and it was windy, and it was single digit there. I tell the story. I get my towel wet at the very bottom of it so that I don't have to lick my fingers. I just, use the moisture from my towel. And so I went out for warm-ups that game and put a little bit of water on there, and I just got done doing my little routine and went to, feel my towel to get that moisture in your hands. And it was frozen, so that's how I knew it was cold.
So like in that game and back to your high school game in Chicago, how many times do you throw the football in a game like that with single digits?
I'd have to go back and look, but we threw it plenty enough times. The cold really doesn't change things. It's the rain and the wind. We played in 2022. We played at Illinois, and it was like 30 to 40 mile an hour winds. And we actually threw the ball, I think, like 25 times. So we threw a decent amount in that one too. So it doesn't change it too much. It's more when the ball gets really wet that you struggle to throw it.
Payton, currently the USGA has you playing as a 7.
Oh, wow. You looked him up.
I don't know if you're trying to steal strokes when you're playing with your buddies.
I'm 5 to 7.
Yeah, but currently you're a 7 there. And there's a guy named Jeff Thorne that plays at the Auburn University Club that's a 4, so you guys should hook up sometimes. I don't know who Jeff Thorne is.
Yeah, we have some battles.
Yeah.
Thorne v. Thorne.
Thorne v. Thorne down there. So, listen, we always say this. There's no such thing as a bye week or an off week. You just don't have a game this week. So what are some things that you will do to mentally and physically make yourself better moving forward? What are you working on this week?
Yeah, you start physically. Was pretty banged up after the Oklahoma game. It was a very physical game, and shout out to our training staff for helping me to get back to pretty much close to 100% for this past weekend. Did a lot of work with them last week, and I was able to feel good enough on Saturday to feel pretty much like myself running around. And then so obviously just cleaning that up this week and making sure everything's back to normal. And then mentally, like you guys said at the start, you do want to take a little bit of a step away for, just a little bit to reset, get your mind off things a little bit. But then also, obviously get locked in, use this extra time to get ready for Missouri and take advantage of not playing this weekend.
Payton Thorne is with us. Don't forget all Auburn coverage at thebarnauburn.com, thebarnauburn.com. Join for $1. A lot of free content there. So just go check out some of the great shows that Kyle and Zach and Brad Law and the entire gang are doing there, thebarnauburn.com. And you can sign up starting at $1 right there. Payton is with us on the JohnsTNRVCenter.com hotline. It is not translated into wins, and I know wins are the ultimate goal, but there are steps towards that. And one of the major steps is you guys have drastically cut down on the turnovers. It had been a huge issue, but over the last 2 games, just the 1 turnover. I guess that it's a positive step in the right direction, obviously. Is there anything that has led to that? Is there anything that's led to you guys protecting the ball more?
It's kind of a mindset type thing. Obviously, it's a performance-based stat. You have to protect the ball when you are getting tackled. You have to protect the ball when you're throwing the ball and when you're catching the ball. And we talk about how everybody's involved with that. Offensive linemen even play a part in that, a small role in protecting the ball in a way too. So it's a group effort. It starts with the quarterback, obviously, when I touch the ball every single play for the most part. I have that responsibility to take care of the ball. So obviously everybody's been talking about it a lot, but just kind of getting back to just trying to play sound football. And, turnovers is obviously a big part of that. And there's a lot of other things that play into winning football too. Complementary football, field position, red zone efficiency, third down efficiency. There's a ton of things that go into those things, and turnovers is, maybe the most important one of those.
Is there anything outside of not turning the football over in Athens that you guys felt like there were steps in the right direction?
I thought we moved the ball decently. Obviously like I said earlier, we got to capitalize on the red zone. We need to, score touchdowns and instead of settling for field goals. And that game looks differently in the fourth quarter. And then also we talked, I think I talked after the game, penalty wise, I think we're doing a really good job offensively of limiting penalties, knock on wood. We need to keep that up, not shooting ourselves in the foot too many times, but it's a lot of little things, that when you're playing really good teams, like we're going to be playing the rest of the year, it shows up, and it's like, when the talent is so similar across the board between teams in the SEC, as you saw this past weekend, anybody can beat anybody. And so, those things show up, and, we just have to be focused on all those little things.
I've loved our first 8 minutes together here because we haven't really brought up any difficult subjects, but I'm the oldest guy here, so I'll be the one that jumps in the deep end.
You looked up his handicap.
I did. I started off very light, so yeah. I'll ask the hard one now. Just relationship with the head coach right now, because there was another, I won't call it an incident, but another end of the game situation where there's some looking at you on television on the bench and head shaking going on. You and Coach Free still on the same page? You smoothed over the edges and ready to go in the second half of the season?
Yeah, I think it was a fourth down play that was, being looked at, and I won't get too much into it. I could explain what happened, but I don't think that would, help our team. So I'll keep that one in-house. But, I will say I did not check any play. It was something that, we talked about on the sideline, that I said what I saw and what it was. And then obviously, our coaches saw after the game when they watched the film too, what I was saying. And so we've handled it. But now it's just moving forward and, doing what we can to execute out there and to, give ourselves the best chance to win the rest of the season.
Let me ask you, and it might not just be Payton that specific moment, but if you've got a break, a timeout, you were in a quarter break at that situation, can you kind of walk us through, like, you got 4th and 1 coming up? I mean, is it like we start with 4 or 5 plays and we whittle it down? Do you get to the sideline like, okay, here's what we're doing? I mean, how does that work when you have an extended time to talk through it, either in a timeout or a quarter break like that?
Yeah, usually I'll be standing there next to coach or next to our assistant quarterback coach and hearing what the ideas are, because obviously I don't have a headset on, and Coach Freeze is then talking through my mic at the time. He's talking with the coaching staff about what they like. And so I'll hear some of the ideas, and I'll get to chime in too about, hey, I really like that one. Or, I don't know if we're going to get the look that, we want there. But, this past weekend I was just standing there, and I didn't really have too much of a say so in it. I didn't really hear what the ideas were until the final one. So I was just standing there talking with the guys, talking with the receivers about possible things that we could get, and then just relying on the coaches to get that play put together.
How has the in-helmet communication been?
It's been good. I really like it. We've been doing more huddling than I've ever done in my career, and I think that Coach Freeze has done in his career too. And so I've actually enjoyed it. There's something about getting to see your guys before every play and be able to look them in the eye and get that little bit of extra communication, especially with our young guys that are getting, moved around at times, who maybe aren't sure 100% what they got. I tell them, do not leave the huddle if you don't know what you have. I will tell you what you got, so being able to do that, you go no huddle, you look out there and you see a guy who looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. You can't, especially on the road, there's not much you can do to try to make sure he knows what he's doing. So I really enjoy the huddle, and obviously with the in-helmet communication, that has made that a lot easier to do that.
Before you go, Payton, this is something you may or may not be aware was being discussed, but apparently the media that cover Auburn on a regular basis, there was a bit of a delay from the players getting from the locker room to the post-game press after Coach Freeze was finished. And it just so happened to coincide with the end of the Alabama-Vanderbilt game. And there were a lot of people speculating y'all were watching that in the locker room. I think that sounds insane. Were they wrong about that?
Yes. Yeah, they were wrong about that. I don't think there was even any TVs in the locker room.
Yeah, I would not imagine.
I don't think anybody was live streaming the game. I was taking my pads off, showering, cleaning up, and making sure that we get out of there and we can get home.
Yeah, okay. I thought it sounded insane.
I didn't know that they won until like midway on the bus ride home, because I randomly thought about it and asked the guys, like, hey, what happened? And then they said they had lost. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah. That was a mild reaction compared to a lot of people.
Go check out Lane Kiffin's news conference after the Ole Miss game. He's watching the final 4 minutes while he's answering questions from the media.
Yeah.
He's watching a TV, having to get people repeating the questions.
A guy's asking a question, and Lane Kiffin goes, how many timeouts does Alabama have? I mean, he's like all glued into it.
It was insane.
All right, Payton, thank you for the time, man. Rest up on the bye week. We'll talk to you again soon.
For sure. Talk to you guys later.
All right, man. Take care. Payton Thorne with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. TheBarnAuburn.com is where you sign up. I assume we all heard the same thing there. TheBarnAuburn.com. And you can join for $1 there. A lot of great free programming, some stuff, the subscription only as well. TheBarnAuburn.com.
And our friends at Johnston RV on the hotline do that, and we'll jump all over
that. We'll come back. Johnston RV Center, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman. 334 Decatur.
Oh, my God.
Let me finish. Exit 304 Coleman, 334 Decatur. Always online at JohnstonRVCenter.com. I was not expecting that. Travel trailers as low as $145 a month. Fifth wheel starting at $45,000. Lowest prices right now. You can make sure you are covered forever with RV warranty forever on anything new and qualifying used. At Johnston RV Center, JohnstonRVCenter.com. I'm sorry I'm laughing there.
Has he been taken hostage?
Tyler popped up Hugh Freeze, and it looks like he's about to testify.
Yeah, or he's been taken hostage.
I mean, he's all sweaty.
He's at the Monday morning quarterback club yesterday, and our friends at ABC 3340 were there with us, and Hugh Freeze was asked to evaluate Payton Thorne, the guy we just had on. Here's what Hugh had to say.
I think he's been pretty solid the last few games. I mean, I wish we were better in critical situations, and we had he understood and I understood him a little better in those for sure. We've got to coach him better, and he is a thinker, and he has good reasons why he does what he does for sure. And we just got to make sure we're always on the same page, particularly on those critical downs. But I think his play, man, I think he's giving it to this team physically. He's doing some really nice things, and we didn't protect him very well Saturday, and he used his legs effectively, and I think his play's been really solid the last 2 weeks.
Now, and Payton made it sound like they went back and looked at the tape, and like the coaches agreed with him, not Hugh.
That's what I heard.
Yeah,
I mean that's what he said was.
Say it better than me, because I stumbled through that.
Basically, what Payton Thorne said there's I know what has been said. I did not check off into anything. I did what I was supposed to do. And when we went back and watched on film, that has been confirmed by the coaches. Is that what you heard?
Yeah, and for him to say, I'm going to keep this one in-house.
Yeah.
Like, if it was really on Payton Thorne, I think he would own it.
Well, like the
or
interception.
From what he believes.
Yeah, go back 2 weeks ago and watch his appearance with us. The interception in the Oklahoma game, the pick six in the Oklahoma game, Payton breaks down what he saw and tells us why the play happened, right?
47 seconds.
I mean, as you pointed out, it took 47 seconds for him to tell us, and it was the famous line, I would have done it 9 more times out of 9. I mean, what I saw was what I saw. Right there, he's like, I'm not going to get into it, but basically that was not a check down, or that was not a check off at the line. And when we went back on film, everybody saw what I saw.
Yep.
That's what Payton Thorne just said, which, again, is contradictory of what his coach is saying.
Or at least said immediately after the game.
At least said immediately after the game. Now, Hugh Freeze just softened it right there a little bit with Payton Thorne, which maybe tells you Hugh looked at the same thing and agrees with Payton Thorne. I don't know. All I know is these two have had trouble singing from the same sheet of music all season long, it seems.
It does, but this time it seems like, I don't know about the other times if you're scoring at home, this time it seems like Payton Thorne was right and the tape backed him up, and Coach Freeze was downplaying it a little bit Monday after the game on Saturday. It seemed to be a little bit more from the stomach.
It's hard to, but here's where it's hard to square that. You guys both watched that play, right? Is there anything about that play that made it look like that was the right checkoff? I mean, you've got two options there. You either hand it to Jarquez Hunter, who is going to get absolutely blown up by 11. He's going to have to make 11 miss somehow, and 11's right in his grill, so much so that Hunter couldn't even really block him because he got on him so quick. That's option one. Or option two is doing what Thorne did, which is pull it and run. There were 2 more defenders out there.
But he's saying he didn't check anything, so that's the play that's
what
called.
I'm saying. I'm saying if you believe he checked into that, then that was an awful check because that play had 0 chance of working. But then you've also got Jarquez Hunter at the end of that play looking around doing this. He was confused by it.
Well, and I think that's one of the disturbing things. Not only are you sitting there and the first month has been basically a disaster, but you're still having major communication issues.
Yeah, I mean, but Payton Thorne and Jarquez Hunter, it's their first year in this. Oh, it's not their first year in the system.
They played a lot of play together.
I mean, they've been in with the terminology from Hugh and all of that. Unless I guess with Hugh not calling plays last year, it's back to his terminology. Maybe they're new to this system. It just doesn't seem like they're on the same page like they should be with 2 veteran guys there and a head coach who's known for calling plays.
Yeah, I mean, again, it just feels like all too often we're having to ask Hugh Freeze, or in our case, Payton Thorne, to explain why he and those two are having the type of interaction they're having. It's just not always healthy interactions they're having during the game.
Payton's at the end of his eligibility, right?
Yeah.
So this is it for the Freeze-Thorne relationship. This is it.
Well, and you wonder, I said this out loud, and I think you guys agree that Payton Thorne's your best option to win right now.
Yeah.
But when does it become like, okay, Payton is up with eligibility. This isn't really going anywhere. I've got to try some other things out.
To Lance's point, at some point, do you just see what Walker White looks like under the lights? Do you see what more of Hank Brown looks like under the lights?
Maybe so, but
what do you have to lose?
My best chance of beating Alabama is running some kind of an option where Payton Thorne and Jarquez.
Who's the best option?
And somebody catching a shuttle pass. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got to keep that game in mind at the end of the year. Okay, I want you to hear one more thing from Hugh Freeze, and this is something he's been saying for a while, and some of it back at SEC Media Days. And I just wonder at 2-4 how it's playing now. Should it be playing better than it's playing right now? The show being brought to you by our friends at Milo's. Tell us about Milo's, LT.
Hey, the only thing better than a Milo's burger is 100 Milo's burgers, which can now be easily done through Milo's Catering. Catering options range from individualized box lunches, ideal for any work or team gatherings, customized, build your own burger bars, chicken sandwich bars. These are a huge hit at any tailgate. Special offer for the next round viewer and listener, $10 off first-time catering orders this fall. Enter the code catering10, that's all caps catering10. When you order Milo's, you're going to get $10 off the first time catering order. To learn more about the catering options, please visit miloshamburgers.com/catering. That is miloshamburgers.com/catering. Stay saucy.
When I pulled out of my driveway this morning, across the street, there was a truck with shower glass, which I got excited for my neighbors. That means that's the last step, right? Once you get the glass in the shower, the bathroom's done. A-plus Tile Home Remodeling, that's who's doing it. They are doing, they did my bathroom, my master bath. Scott showing you before and afters there. They did Lance's master bath. Scott will show you some before and afters there. They're doing my neighbors across the street. They've done many friends of ours. They've done many of you. You have all reached out and said, thank you for hooking me up with Brad Bell. It has been tremendous. I tell you, need to thank Jennifer Brown. That's my wife. She's the one that scoured the internet when it came time to redo our master bath. And she talked with contractors, certain people that had used certain contractors, read reviews. She picked Brad Bell. I'm thrilled she did. Lance is thrilled she did. My neighbors are thrilled she did. I talked with him Saturday night after his Arkansas Razorbacks upset Tennessee. He's a big Arkansas fan, and he was telling me how pumped he is for the master bath. 205-422-1758. 205-422-1758 is the number for Brad Bell. He specializes in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. Those are all, he can do anything in the house there, but those are the ones that really pop when you go to sell your house. 205-422-1758. Brad Bell, A-Plus Tile Home Remodeling.
So tell me how you feel about this continuing to be the message from Hugh Freeze. And if this is what you're doing, the message shouldn't change. You just need to keep repeating it. Here's Hugh yesterday down at the Monday Morning Quarterback Club.
I think you better be focused on how you plan to build, and I'm pretty focused on that, and I think we've got the right plan. I actually think we're further along than now. Having said that, I have to also clarify that they should be frustrated that we turned the ball over 13 times in 3 games, and that's 3 losses that easily could have been wins. And so we have to own that as coaches and players. But the process to building this, I knew when I took the job, they were very clear with what had gone on the previous 4 years in recruiting and in transitions and people leaving. And so I knew that the task was tall, particularly when you're, wanting to compete against teams that have had top 10 recruiting classes for multiple years in a row. We've had 1, and we're on our way to number 2, and that's the way we want to build it. And I stay focused on that and our team and our kids. And I can't really worry about. I get it that there's a give it to me now culture. We all feel that way, and I wish I could. I really do. And maybe we will surprise some folks here the second half of the season, because I do think we're getting better. But I think you better control what you can control, and I can't control other people's expectations, but I can control the continuous build of this program.
Building for the future, that still resonates, you think?
Not at all. Kenny Dillingham, 4-1 at Arizona State. Kirk Cignetti in year 1 is 6-0, the only bowl-eligible team right now in college football. At Indiana, I know the schedules are different, but Hugh Freeze is a proven commodity, at least on some level, at Ole Miss. And in year 2, this should be much different. There are no excuses.
And as his life in the SEC, he mentioned surprising people in the second half.
By the way, how much better is Mike Elko and Texas A&M in year 1 than Auburn is right now in year 2 under Hugh Freeze?
Oh, much better. They're probably going to be playing Texas for a playoff spot.
I would understand, though, that Texas A&M had a much better roster just on paper, right?
I would think so.
Yeah, and I'll give you that. Yeah. But, I mean, when you have a coaching change, for him to be able to keep together whatever he did, and they did lose a lot. But in 2 years,
Evan Stewart's playing in Oregon, and that was their best receiver, was he not?
Well, I mean, talent-wise, maybe. Yeah. I think they were kind of done with him.
Yeah, well, that's part of those recruiting classes that didn't pan out for Jimbo. The point I was going to make is that, he said maybe we surprise some people in the second half of the season. And as the season unfolds, a lot of times schedules that you talk about in the offseason end up not looking as daunting as maybe they once did, right?
Right.
Example of that. When Notre Dame beat Texas A&M, we're like, Notre Dame's in the playoffs. All they got left's USC. Well, they lost to Northern Illinois, but now all of a sudden, how much easier does that USC game look for Notre Dame? USC's not very good, it doesn't appear.
No, yeah. It looks a lot easier.
But if I'm Auburn, normally I would look at next week and I'm like, at Missouri, that is a much more winnable game now than I might have thought a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, I agree with that. But when you start to look at the entirety of the SEC, where would you put Auburn?
Oh, they're in the bottom quarter, easy.
Yeah.
I mean, State is obviously last.
Yes.
And you can make any argument.
But outside of State, you don't feel like, okay, I feel great about Auburn beating that team.
No.
Yeah.
Because the other teams that are in the conversation with State are who?
No, I think Mississippi State is the bottom.
They're obviously the bottom, but then you've got that next
now
group.
Who's 15? Yeah.
I mean, probably South Carolina, though they do have a win over Kentucky.
Florida.
They beat Kentucky.
Florida has played better
Love
lately.
that Vanderbilt's not even in the argument
Vanderbilt's
anymore.
not in the argument.
I know.
You can't put them in the argument.
You can't really put Arkansas in the argument.
No, Arkansas just beat Tennessee, and they beat Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's only one 0-3 team right now in the SEC, and it's Auburn. I'm disappointed in year 2 of Hugh Freeze. I would think most people are.
But my point is, you're at Missouri, which feels more winnable, but then you're at Kentucky, which is starting to feel less winnable the more Kentucky plays, right?
I mean, I'd be shocked if they win both those games.
And then you're hosting Vanderbilt. How much less winnable does that feel now? I mean, and then you've still got to play Texas A&M again, who's playing better. Now, maybe you look at Alabama and like, all right, maybe they're not the foe they once were. I'm just saying, Hugh Freeze talk about surprising people in the second half. Maybe they can, but this is far from a beneficial schedule that Auburn has left.
One more big thing to get to on what Diego Pavia said yesterday on the Dan Patrick Show, after we tell you about a couple of great folks with us here. One of those is our friends at the Pants Store. The Pants Store is the place you go to get dressed for the big games, man. There's only a handful of them. There's only 12 regular season games. Most people only have 7 home games, right? So you want to look your best. It's a cool thing now for all the college girls to have a game day outfit for every game. They preseason, they go ahead and pick out their 7 outfits for the home games this season, and you can make sure your kids are looking fantastic at the pantstore.com. Pantstore.com. You can look good too. Locations in Birmingham, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, Auburn, and the original location in Leeds at your game day headquarters. The polos, the hats, the quarter zips, all for you Bama and Auburn fans out there with the name brands like Antigua, Cutter Buck, Horn Legend, Gentile, and all the Hoka, New Balance, and Western boots there as well. The rompers and the dresses for the ladies in the audience, and the free alteration and the free gift wrapping. You can't beat it. And nothing says War Eagle and Roll Tide like the Pants Store, pantstore.com there. Also, Browning, by our friends right there at MyBookie, mybookie.ag.
Code next round when you sign on at mybookie.ag, and you get that sign-on bonus. What they do is they double your initial deposit. You make your deposit to play at mybookie.ag. You use code next round. They double that deposit that you have put in there right now. Alabama holding is a 21.5-point favorite at home over South Carolina. UAB, a 26-point favorite. Where did that open? Was that about there? Or was that, I thought it was 24. Yeah. It's up to 26. That's a lot of points against an Army team. Army, a 26-point favorite on the road against UAB.
Just because they don't have a lot of possessions, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're probably, if you're UAB, what are you going to get in that game? 7-8 possessions, you think?
Are you not going to play UAB as your upset alert?
They were not in my upset alert. They were never. Dunaway's got 80 games over there on his list. Was UAB one of them?
I just have 4 today. 4? I had 8 last
week.
Was
UAB one of them?
They are not.
Okay. Ole Miss, a 3-point favorite at LSU. Vandy, 13.5-point dog, bouncing back from that Alabama game. So those are just some of the games you can play right there at mybookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on at mybookie.ag. And they double that initial deposit. Mybookie.ag, bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Mybookie.ag, code next round.
So Diego Pavia yesterday on the Dan Patrick Show, Dan asked him, he said, hey, was there any it looked very chippy watching it on television. Were there things being said? And Diego Pavia basically said it started at the coin toss. He says, we were blown away, the captains that went out for the coin toss. They were saying to us, the reason we did not shake hands after the coin toss is because all they said the entire time we were out there, they kept saying they were about to treat us like an FCS team.
Wow.
And the Alabama players, I don't know who was out there for the coin toss.
I'll see if I can find out.
But Pavia says they just kept saying over and over, we're about to run you guys like an FCS team. We're about to treat you like an FCS team. And Pavia says he was just looking at his guys and they were blown away that they were saying that. So nobody
just disrespect before they even kick it off.
Nobody shook hands and they were off to the races. And 40-35. Now that's Diego Pavia's side of the story, but I don't know why he would lie about that. I don't get it. I don't get it.
No, he seems look, and I don't know anything about Diego Pavia outside of watching him the last couple of years, a little bit at New Mexico State, and then obviously what he's been able to do early on in his Vanderbilt career. But I mean, he seems like a guy his teammates absolutely love, and I don't know why you would embellish a story like this.
Yeah, I just. Is it the permanent captains that always go out there?
I haven't watched an Alabama coin toss this year. I don't know. I was looking at their game book to see if they listed game captains, and I don't see where they've listed game captains.
Yeah.
I got everything else. You want to know the officials or anything else? I got all that, but I don't see game captains.
Game time, kick temperature, wind direction.
I think I actually do have that.
Yeah, I know it's always on there.
It's always on there, but I don't have game captains. So perhaps they send out Malachi Moore, Booker, that group.
Yeah, Jalen.
That would surprise me a little bit that those guys were doing that.
Yep.
I know we were harsh on Malachi Moore. I think deservedly so, and he did apologize. Give him credit for that. I know we were harsh on him yesterday, but still I would have a hard time thinking they did that. Landmine Believer says Milroe was out there. I did not see the coin toss. I hit that game right at kick. I don't even know that they showed the coin toss.
On TV, I don't remember seeing it either.
I mean, that's not something I generally watch, is the coin toss of a football game. I'm normally
not with quad screen.
Yeah, I'm normally doing good to get there.
Overtime coin toss.
Yeah, maybe
I'll
so.
watch that.
Yeah. I just the more it comes out about that game, you understand why Vandy is doing all they're doing. We'll talk to Clay Travis up next. By the way, I've got a list of everything Vandy is selling from that game. I'll give it to you later.
All right, hey, okay. So Clay's coming up. This was at my seat, Lance, when I walked in today. For those who can't see, it's an envelope that says "Open when needed." I asked Dunaway. I could tell it's his writing. I said, "When am I going to need this?" And you said
it could be in the Clay Travis interview.
Okay. So there's something in this that Jim may tell me to open during the Clay Travis interview.
Okay.
So it's a mystery to me, Lance. Okay. Too. I'm just going to give everybody a heads up.
We'll just see if we get to it in the Clay. It may not come up.
If it doesn't come up, can I open it after the Clay interview?
Oh yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So it opens regardless. We open it in the next segment.
Yeah, one way or the other in the next segment. Back in a moment. Clay Travis on the other side. The show being brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Not this Thursday, but next Thursday, we're going to be at a new Bud Light game night location. We'll tell you more about that location coming up a little bit later on this week. This is the TNR Show.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trussville. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Happy football season. At the next round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan-Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios. The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Okay, in full disclosure, LT and I just went back and watched it. They may have not have said the phrase, "We're going to treat you like an FCS team." He said they were talking to us like we were an FCS team.
Yeah, the way what I pulled out of that is there was disrespectful body language, some chirping here, and it was, man, you would have thought we were like an FCS team.
Yeah, it did feel like pretty weak trash talk. We're going to treat you like an FCS team. I mean, that's, I think, pretty weak by today's standards there.
So trying to get it 100% correct there. So I wanted to go back and double check to make sure we had the story correct there. Interesting things, Clay Travis, in a second, going on in off the field in the NCAA. The House versus the NCAA settlement moved out of the committee yesterday. That means the new model of paying from the TV money and everything could be in place as early as next year if this continues to move smoothly now after it got out of the House. That's good. And there's a new penalty that is being called now. You've noticed it in the NFL. It's also happening now in the college level. It was a big penalty in the Minnesota game. Any simulation of brandishing a weapon is now a personal foul penalty, a 15-yard penalty. After a touchdown, unloading into the stands. We've seen that being flagged.
Yeah, I mean, Drake London got flagged.
Yeah, in the NFL for the Falcons. So in the college game, it's coming down too. In the Minnesota contest, there was a big hit, I think, by a defender, and he was over the guy, and he unloaded on him, and that's the one that got the flag in that game. So that's a point of emphasis now for officials moving forward for the rest of the season.
All right, Clay Travis joins us this time each week, founder of Outkick. You see him on Fox as well, at Clay Travis on social media. Welcome in, Clay. How are you today?
I'm good. Can you imagine if your team loses because somebody pretends to shoot a gun after a big play?
It's so ridiculous.
It's going to be a hard one to swallow there.
What if I told him
especially in the South, of all things.
What if I told him it was a water gun?
Yeah.
That's all fun.
It's just a big soaker. Yeah.
What if it wasn't a very popular, a very powerful gun, like you said, just a water gun? Maybe it was Kamala Harris's gun that she fires all the time, evidently. Look, I just think it's kind of silly, but I guess if that's the rule and you do it, it's kind of an intelligence test more than anything else, and it can attest of whether or not you can control your emotions in an emotional game.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, your oldest son, as has been documented many times on the show, is a avid Alabama fan.
Yes.
And I did get a chuckle after Alabama lost to Vandy. You send out a video. A mature adult would not, I can't remember the phrase you used, would not harass his son about an Alabama loss on video. Fortunately, I am not a mature adult, so you sent out a video of you giving your son grief over Alabama losing to Vandy. I did not see his video later that night. Please tell me he paid you back.
He did. And look, I know people get on me. I was on a private jet, and we didn't have very good Wi-Fi.
Yeah, of course. Yes, as one does.
As often happens in.
And the Prosecco was flat.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there was lots of issues. Like the vent above my head was not working as well as I wanted it to.
Right.
Pilot, he looked you in your eyes.
Yeah, pilot made eye contact. Yeah, you don't want that.
Pilot tried to talk to me. Also, the whiskey wasn't the right brand. I mean, look, people just think that when you're rich, you have no issues, and I just want people to know that's not true. But in all honesty, I was on a private jet when that game ended, and we did not have good Wi-Fi. So I wasn't able to watch the last 2 minutes of that game. We were flying back from Michigan, and he was, trust me, letting me have it throughout the whole game. I mean, honestly, I think you can have a legitimate debate about which team you are more disappointed in, whether you're an Alabama or a Tennessee fan. And I get Alabama fans are going to say, hey, it was Vanderbilt. But Tennessee was actually up 14-3.
Yep. With Arkansas's backup in the game, by the way, Clay, Arkansas had lost their starting quarterback.
Yeah, and Nico missed. I mean, I don't know how many people went back and have watched this game. Probably a lot of Alabama fans didn't want to watch football after the loss to Vanderbilt. May have turned it off, but Nico missed about 4 throws that he should make, 75, 80, 90% of the time. Any one of which in the fourth quarter alone would have won the game for Tennessee. And I never thought, you'd be sitting around saying, boy, after 5 games, the question Tennessee has is more on the offensive side of the ball than the defensive side of the ball. But I think that's accurate. Nico still only started 6 games. He missed a lot of throws against Arkansas. The pass blocking wasn't great, as often happens at in a road game at night, SEC Stadium. But it would be different if Tennessee had come out, gotten behind big early, and then fought back and wasn't able to get back, which is a little bit like what happened to Alabama. Tennessee, was in control of this game with about 7 or 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. They went up double digits and had a chance to put this game away a lot of times, and just kept shooting themselves in the face, in the foot. So it was super frustrating. And so you go back and watch. I actually think Alabama just got beat. In many ways, if you go look at that performance against Alabama and Vanderbilt, I mean, you go look at the stats. I mean, that wasn't some sort of flukish, crazy outcome. To me, I mean, I can see why Alabama fans would be a little bit alarmed. So like Vandy blocked 2 punts, returned a punt for a touchdown. I know they had the tip ball pick 6, but they missed the extra point, as Vanderbilt often does, and still scored 34 points. Again, you go back to Tennessee. If you told me that Tennessee was going to give up 19 to Arkansas, I would have thought they would have won 45-19, something like that. So the offensive performance was disappointing, and it kind of feels like in 2 weeks, assuming that Alabama beats South Carolina and Tennessee beats Florida, that's basically an SEC elimination game for both teams in Knoxville, as opposed to what I thought was going to be a 6-0 against 6-0, and the team that wins thinks, hey, we're real contenders to be that number 1 overall seed, and the team that loses is like, that stinks, but we're probably still set up for the playoff. I'm not sure that's still going to be the case.
Clay, disturbing charges on wide receiver from Georgia, Colby Young. Just another list of another Bulldog. Obviously, the people joke about the driving situation, but this is a little deeper there. And I was saying this earlier, and I don't know how you feel. There was a moment that Florida fans, after Urban Meyer won his second national championship, were like, man, maybe Urban Meyer's the greatest coach in Florida history. I think Kirby Smart is the greatest coach in Georgia history. But if he was to get out of the game maybe sooner than later, and he still has all of this stuff hovering without another championship, does it become maybe an Urban Meyer-like situation for Kirby? I mean, I hate to say that. I think he is viewed as the best coach, current active head coach in college football. But, if he takes another loss or two, it'd be back-to-back missed college football playoffs, and now you've got all these arrests.
I don't think fans care at all about arrests. I mean,
no, I agree, but if he misses another college football playoff, they do.
Well, but it won't be because of the arrest. It'll be because he misses the college football playoff. I mean, Urban Meyer is a great example. I like Urban, know him pretty well right now. Nobody cared. I mean, Florida Gator fans would sign up in a heartbeat to have 20 guys getting arrested and be back to a top 5 program. I mean, that's just the sad reality of, I think, life in major college athletics. You basically will defend to the nth degree your program no matter what they do, and your coach no matter what he does, as long as they win. And as soon as they start losing, then you just use whatever negativity is out there as evidence of why they need to be gone, which is really just circling back around to all that matters is win. I mean, I think, Al Davis is famous for saying, just win, baby. I think that's the lesson of major college athletics. A lot of people pretend that they care about other things, but when push comes to shove, they'll make any excuse if the team is winning.
Clay Travis is with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Back to Vandy over Alabama, which could go down as the biggest upset of the year when it's all said and done. I see where they sold out of the slices of the goalpost in 12 hours. There's a game helmet that the price right now is $13,500 up for auction. They're auctioning game balls and SEC pylons. What do you think of an auction like that after a contest like that? Do you like it? Is that part of the college football lore?
Well, look, I mean, if you are a Vanderbilt football fan, you are the opposite of a fair weather fan. I mean, and I know a lot of them. I mean, it's hard to root for a team that always finds a way to lose. So I thought, what are they, 0-60 all time against number one or top five?
Top five, yeah.
So, I mean, imagine if you, and a lot of people have, set through 40 or 50 of those games, some of which Vanderbilt had a chance to win. They get your hopes up early, and then they just go on to collapse. So I don't begrudge Vanderbilt. I think it's the biggest win in the history of Vanderbilt athletics. And I know they won 2 College World Series, but just the sheer impact of winning a big college football game is so much bigger than what comes from even winning a national championship. I bet, and I was texting with some friends who work in admissions at universe of Vanderbilt. I'm like, I bet this is going to lead to an even more difficult admissions environment for Vanderbilt because it's such a huge advertisement, not only the win, but how much fun it looked like carrying the goalpost all the way down Broadway to the Cumberland River for people who have been to downtown Nashville. That's not a short walk. And they basically got a police escort all the way. I mean, I just thought it was, super cool. I think Vanderbilt is one of the best places on the planet. I would be ecstatic if my kids went there. And the one thing that they typically have not had is an elite athletic program, especially in football or basketball of late. And so this was, they had the back-to-back 9-win seasons with James Franklin, which was a little bit of excitement for them historically. But this was kind of next level. So I don't begrudge them selling anything to help raise. And I'm actually curious. I assume you guys were in the stadium. On Wednesday, I got to give Vanderbilt credit for this. I sent out a tweet about it, but my 8th grader got to play his middle school championship game on the field at Vanderbilt, the Alabama fan, and they let a lot of Nashville area middle schools play on their field, and everybody got in basically for free. I just thought that was incredibly cool that they allowed that to happen, and all of the boys were just walking on air that they were getting to play on an SEC field and see what it felt like. And so I like to see Vanderbilt rewarded. I know a lot of the coaching staff over there, and I know how hard they work, and the fact that they're, really, you talk about having to scheme up solutions. I mean, that's the ultimate in having to scheme up solutions. And so to see them get a win like that was frankly pretty incredible.
Can they pay to keep Clark Lee? I mean, I know they can. Will they? I mean, if this guy, they could go to a bowl. I mean, if he takes Vandy to a bowl, I think.
Wait a second. Clark Lee?
Yeah.
I mean,
the Vandy head coach.
I thought Jerry Kill and Diego Pavia was the secret sauce.
I'm just telling you, Clay, if Clark Lee takes Vandy to a bowl, whatever jobs come open, his name is going to be mentioned. I don't even know what he makes because Vandy's a private school. I know they've got that kind of money. Will they spend that kind of money on him?
I think, now that Texas is in the SEC, it's probably 3rd place because of the oil money that Texas has.
Yeah.
I think Vandy's the 3rd wealthiest.
I don't doubt that. It's just it's never translated into football, obviously.
Well, so the challenge is not whether they can pay. I mean, they would have paid as much or more than James Franklin did at Penn State. The challenge is, will someone who has the ability to make, $8 or $9 million a year at a program where it's easier to win get tired of having to sketch out, all of those difficulties? Now, I will say, look, you haven't asked, but I mean, is there a lesson coming out of college football right now with Northern Illinois winning as a 28.5-point underdog? Vanderbilt winning as a 22.5-point, I think it was, underdog, with Tennessee losing as a 17 or 14 or 15, whatever the heck it ended up settling at, I think 14.5. I think Vanderbilt has 22 transfers. I do think that Nick Saban saw this happening a little bit, which is there's really an evener playing field than there has been in the past because you don't know how these teams are all going to coalesce and gel when you're not relying on, hey, after 3 years, all the 4 and 5 stars are stepping in to take over the jobs. Every team now is bringing in 20-some-odd guys who can immediately contribute. Now, they might not all contribute. They might be a lot of swing and misses. But I think Barton Simmons, who's a buddy of mine and is effectively Vandy's GM, he's been having to try to spin the plates to put together these rosters. And a lot of people, I know Alabama has a GM now, a lot of these guys are going to become more prominent. And I think the dollars are getting distributed in a more even fashion, and that potentially is going to lead to more of an NFL-like a universe where the ability to go 15 or 16-0 is not going to be anywhere near as paramount or likely as it used to be.
Clay, back to Bama Vanderbilt, one of the biggest player meltdowns that we've ever seen with Malachi Moore at the end. And Kalen DeBoer came out and said, look, we're going to handle this internally. He's not going to be suspended. It was an awful look. Malachi Moore, one of the team captains, obviously he's got a lot of passion for the program, but a terrible, terrible look. What do you think goes down if Nick Saban's the head coach there? And do you think Kalen DeBoer is handling this the right way?
Well, what was it, Damian Harris, who just went off?
Yep.
I watched that clip, and obviously he knows the interior of a locker room way better than any of us do. And he basically said, in a summation, it's unacceptable, and Nick Saban wouldn't stand for it. Look, this is typically what happens when a legend gets replaced. And I don't mean the loss to Vanderbilt. I mean, every day you're a little bit less successful than you were the day before. And what you usually see is not like the ultimate collapse like we saw from Alabama against Vanderbilt in a one-game scenario. It's that just over time, the mistakes and the performances get a little bit worse, right? That's why Nick Saban, I think, is the greatest college football coach of all time. And I don't think, look, there's a couple of things that I would say. Sometimes you just have to go back and ask yourself, do you guys remember in the entire Saban era ever seeing a team captain behave like that on the field?
No, to be entirely fair, they did not name team captains until the end of the season, normally for Alabama football. Until this is the very first time in the history of Alabama football, at least I can remember, somebody has worn the C. They've been a permanent team captain.
Yeah, but I can't remember anybody, captain or not.
You had one kid almost fight a coach on the sideline during a national championship game. I can't even remember his name. He was quickly in the transfer, portal after the game.
When I saw it happen, my jaw dropped. Just because I couldn't believe, and the part that I saw was him kicking the football, and I was just like, I'm sitting across from my 10-year-old right now. He plays flag football. I mentioned that we have an 8th grader. If one of our players did that in 8th grade or in 10-year-old flag football, like the coach would lose it on him. And so the idea that a 20-some-odd age player would do that in a game, I don't recall ever seeing that happen in an NFL or college football or high school game that I've ever seen before. So I just kind of was like in disbelief that he lost it to that degree. And so I can't remember Alabama behaving in that undisciplined of a fashion, much less of a leader. And so to me, it's emblematic of there being a different culture there. Now, some things may be better about the culture. I don't know. Kalen DeBoer may be way nicer when somebody's mom is sick than Nick Saban was. He may be more liked when a player knocks on the door and goes in. But you guys are all parents. There's sometimes a daddy and a mommy style of parenting that are very different. Nick Saban's daddy style, in general, again, speaking in general, I'm easier on my kids, I think, than my wife is. So that would be an exception in our household. I know it's not the same everywhere. But there's a daddy style and there's a mom style. And it seems to me that Kalen DeBoer is more mom than dad. And there can be benefits of that. But typically people aren't afraid of mom as much as they're afraid of dad being upset. And I think people feared doing things in the Saban era that would upset Saban. I'm not sure that they fear doing things in a Kalen DeBoer era that would upset Kalen DeBoer. And again, we never saw leave aside the loss, because I do think, I bet you guys would agree, if Nick Saban is still coaching, does Alabama lose last weekend?
Oh, no, not a chance. Nope.
Yeah. And I think most Alabama fans would, if they're being honest, say the same thing. And I know people can say, well, look at what happened with Louisiana Monroe. The level of team that Nick Saban inherited compared to the level of team that Kalen DeBoer inherited is very, very different. So again, I think you can look at on-field behavior, and I think you can look at on-field results. To me, there is clear evidence of slippage. And even before the loss to Vanderbilt, guys, I was in Bryant-Denny, amazing electric atmosphere. Nick Saban would have never given up a 28-point lead at home either. That wouldn't have happened.
You can't entirely say that now. Maybe not a 28-point, but he gave up a very big lead to Auburn in the comeback, which was, by the way, at home. Even one of his most famous wins, the blackout game in Athens, they were up 31-0, and I think Georgia made that a one-possession game.
I would agree with Brown on that, Clay. I mean, I think that you still got the win. Now, if Ryan Williams doesn't score that touchdown and you go from blowing a 28-point lead and then losing to Vanderbilt, boy, they would already want him gone.
Oh, I mean, look, if you guys know this, if Tennessee beats Alabama in 2 weeks and Alabama goes 0 for 2 in the state of Tennessee, good luck to Kalen DeBoer. I do think that I talked to Lane Kiffin about this, and I might have said it on your show before, and I think he's later talked about this publicly as well. But he said when he left USC as the offensive coordinator, and obviously he'd been the head coach at the Oakland Raiders and came to take over the job at Tennessee, he had no idea what he was getting into. And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "It's just different. Like the idea that you couldn't go out in a restaurant in Knoxville without everybody wanting to get their picture taken with you, or that if you stopped and got a beer somewhere, it was immediately on the message boards, 'Hey, saw Coach sitting at the bar having a beer.'" And he had come from L.A., which is a city that's filled with a lot of people. And he's like, the reality is head coach of USC, I'm like the 600th or 700th most famous person in L.A. Nobody cares. Like, I can have a normal life. I think that Kalen DeBoer, who has not spent a lot of time in the South, is recognizing, and I think John Calipari learned this at Kentucky, there are certain jobs that are much more like you're the president of the state than it is just a football coach. And I think that he's going to find that there are aspects of the job that have nothing to do with football that are overwhelming. And it takes a special individual to be able to handle the pressures associated with that. And so now we're going to find out if Kalen DeBoer is that kind of guy, because it's all well and good when you're winning and everybody's super nice and like, "Hey, coach, you're the next Nick Saban," and everything else. Well, Nick Saban never lost to Vanderbilt. Probably get a bounce-back performance that's good against South Carolina. But there's going to be a lot of pressure on Kalen DeBoer to beat Tennessee in 2 weeks. And to be fair, there'll be a lot of pressure on Josh Heupel, too. Like I said, that's gone from both fan bases are going to want to win, but, feel like, hey, we're 6-0, we're set for the playoff. This is important, but it's not that important, to this is like an elimination game. And we'll see how both teams respond, but also psychologically, I'm kind of fascinated to see how Kalen DeBoer does.
Clay, thank you. Have a great week.
All right, appreciate y'all.
All right, buddy. Clay Travis with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
And we'll come back with Roman Harper on the other side. This is the next round.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings account, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
Hey, you. Feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair. To kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham. We got now.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
From the creators of the Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on the Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Our friends at Milo's Hamburger invites you to join them in the fight against hunger in our local communities by bringing non-perishable food items to your local Milo's, including canned goods. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, Milo's will give you a free drink. Together, we can make a difference.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com. Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Back with you on the Next Round. We'll get to the envelope later on and also our 4 downs and upset alert. Roman Harper with us now. We want to be good with his time. It's brought to you by our friends at mybookie.ag.
Code Next Round. When you sign on at mybookie.ag, you get a double your initial deposit right there. That is their gift to you for using code Next Round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. mybookie.ag, code Next Round. Harp texted me Sunday, I think it was. Looking at film, he was already fired up. So I wanted to get Harp on while Harp was still fired up. And as you've looked at more film, you've gotten even more fired up about Alabama's defense, Harp.
It's just some of this. Look, I've told you guys I was grading them on a curve all year, right? Like, what did I say? 3 things. The only thing I cared about, right, was third down percentage, which they stunk at this past week versus Vandy. They allowed 12 for 18, 66%, 1-on-1 on fourth down. Okay. The other thing was red zone defense. I think Vandy scored every time they got in the red zone. They pretty much scored every drive besides 2 or 3. You can't allow Vandy to put up 40 points. And then the other thing was turnovers, which they got done. And they gave away 2, 1 for pick 6. So that is a winning formula to lose. If you're Alabama, they got to understand that. That's what I understand. I'm grading them on a curve. These are the only 3 stats I even care about. And they were horrible in every single one of them. They got out-rushed, pretty much doubled up, 166 to 84. That's not going to win you any games, especially versus an option team. And when you're playing against option teams, you got to be disciplined. And so when you have pitch or if you have dive, you got to have that. And the person that has pitch can't be playing the dive. The person that has dive can't be worrying about what the pitch man is doing. So, like, these are the things, it's like we had never seen it before. It's like they didn't really talk about it. And then all of a sudden when the game happened, it was like, oh, we'll just figure it out, coach. It's Vandy. We got it. And then all of a sudden Vandy punches you in the mouth. And Vandy actually give them credit because they actually went out there and beat Alabama. Like, physically, they beat them. This wasn't just like fluke. It wasn't like, oh, Vandy just survived. They led the game from start to finish.
Well, and
let's remind everybody that.
I think that's the biggest criticism now, and the biggest wow from Alabama fans. As I said this yesterday, Harper, if you had on a white uniform, black uniform, no numbers, no names, there wasn't a difference. Like watching that game, like, wow, that talent outweighs that other talent. It looked like an equivalent game. And back to what you saw on film, Kane Womack has been getting destroyed, and maybe this is deserving. Should the adjustments, when you've got the talent of Alabama at halftime, when you're down 23-14, should you be able to make those adjustments and be able to pull away and win that game 99 out of 100 times in the second half?
I mean, that's what Vegas said. The odds were like, oh, Bama by 2 in the second half. Why not, right? Not like I'm a gambling man, but look, they was and we said that last week too. Is that the person that made the adjustments last week in the Georgia-Alabama game was Georgia and Kirby Smart to be able to make the adjustments and get their team back into the game. Alabama did not do that. And then when I saw it again this past week, Alabama did not make the adjustments to try and get their teams in better situations. And look, offensively, they were pretty good. But defensively, they never slowed down Vanderbilt. And it's not like Vandy really went away from anything that they were doing on the first drive to the second drive to the third drive. And so maybe we need to not try and do as much, and let's just simplify it and say, hey, look, this is what we're playing because this is what's killing us, and we got to get this thing stopped. And then when you have all of a sudden the shuffle pass that showed up 3 times for huge gains every single time, or 2 times for huge gains, like, you cannot take the easy way out in defense. Like, you can't do it. Deontay Lawson went underneath the block. When you go underneath the block, you cut everybody else out. You got to work extra hard to get back on top, whether it's giving up 3 or 4 more yards, going backwards to get over the top of a block. You got to do it. Like, these are the things that's not getting hit home with, and I've seen it for multiple weeks, and you got to get these things corrected because the tape is out on you. So people see it. I'm not the only one that's watching it. So right now, the mystique, the jersey of Alabama is just a little bit lower. And so people are going to attack you and not treat you the same. And so until you get these leaks fixed, people will continue to flood you. And that is what's happening defensively right now for Alabama. It has not been good. They need to get a lot of things straightened out. And I saw many things. I also saw guys making business decisions where somebody's running and they just dive into the ground, hoping and praying somebody trips over them. Like, that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And so you're either coaching it or allowing it to happen. And right now, I'm pretty sure they're not coaching it. But if you allow it to happen, you're just as guilty. So they got to get these things cleaned up.
Can it be cleaned up? And I go back to what you told us. You're the first one that told me, and LT told me I could get ready for 45, 43 shootouts all season long if Alabama was going to win games. Can you change schemes? Do you have to change schemes? Can it be coached? Is there any positive in the future for this defense, or it is what it is until you get to the offseason?
So you can't change schemes. We're already the ship is already sailed. So you can't change schemes. But what you can do is you can get better. All right? Where are our eyes at? Like, people do not understand the importance of eye discipline when it comes to playing defense, or especially the secondary and especially the safety position. All right? The 1 4th and 1 conversion where they roll to the left, make somebody miss, throw it up, and the safeties are looking in the backfield. I'm tired of hearing about this vision coverage defense. Remember all that this offseason, guys? That's what we heard of. Vision coverage, blah, blah, blah. Yep. Well, vision doesn't mean I get to look in the backfield at the quarterback. He ain't throwing it to me. Where are my threats? You have to have ability to recognize who's actually a threat out here, who could run a route, and who could go down the field. By the time Malachi Moore and Keon Sabb saw the receiver, he was right beside him, 8, 9 yards down the field. They were looking in the backfield and then looked up like, oh, man, that guy's running at me. Too late. He's got a full steam ahead. He hadn't been touched. And he's running right slap down the middle of your defense, and nobody sees him. So it's like, what are we doing? What are we teaching these guys? And it's not just this game. I've seen Keon Sabb have responsibilities in a flat and number 2 through the zone, and maybe they're teaching it that way. I'm not in the meetings. But in every other defense I've been taught, when it's 2 through the zone and you're a flat player, you run with him on a wheel route. If not, what are we doing? But he hasn't covered it. And so if we're allowing it to happen, we haven't got the problem fixed yet. We're in game 4 or 5. What are we doing? You can't keep having these eye violations in the secondary because the quickest way to lose the game is over the top of the defense. And so if you don't get these things fixed, this is what you're going to deal with all year long. And so I don't know, guys. I'm not in those meetings. I'm not in there coaching the DBs. I mean, I wish I could a little bit, but I'm not in there. That's not my job. I only watch film and I only talk about what I see. And I'm sorry if I'm brutally honest and it hurts anybody's feelings. All I would tell you then is to get better. If you don't want me to say this, then get better. Because I don't say this about everybody's defense. I say it about yours.
Roman Harper is with us. He joins us each week from the SEC Network, courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on to MyBookie.ag. Dunaway told me first time since 2015, no fumble, no sack, or no turnover, no sack.
In
right?
an SEC game.
In an SEC game. And a lot of people in the chat room wanted us to ask you, it seemed like Alabama had success pressuring the quarterback with blitzes against Georgia in the first half. They did very little, if any, of that Saturday against Vanderbilt. Maybe it was the option slowing that blitz down. I don't know, Harp. But why were they struggling to pressure Diego Pavia?
They got there. They didn't get him on the ground. They missed him multiple times. And so you got to get that part squared away and fixed. Like, that's one thing. But, I mean, overall, like, Vandy's offense does make it a little bit harder, and Diego Pavia's a slicker guy and does certain things that makes it hard to actually get numbers of sacks. But there's still no excuse. Like, you got to play better. Like, you just got to play better. It doesn't – everybody can sit up here and talk about the play call and what we can do better. And look, it doesn't come down to that. It doesn't matter what defense we call. If we don't execute it, we don't play with the right effort, we don't play with the right leverage, it doesn't matter. Like, the one thing that ticks me off a little bit is, like, how everybody's all on Malachi Moore, right? And maybe you guys want to get to this in a second. Maybe I'm jumping ahead. But, look, he had plenty of chances for him to make plays during that game where we're not talking about him showing his tail at the end of the game, all right? Eli Stowers catches the ball on 3rd and 8 on a sprint out. Red Morgan's getting drugged, okay, because he's a bigger guy. He gets on his back. He's trying to get him down. And instead of Malachi Moore being on a dead sprint for 10, 15 yards to go get a piece of this guy and get him down before he gets the first down, he jogs. And he's not the only one that's doing it. I see it on tape. The last drive, or the drive before the last drive, when they scored on, they run an option play to the right side of the offense, left side of the defense. They're jogging. You're in a race to get the guy down. Like, tackling's 80% want to. And right now, I don't see the want to in Alabama defensively. That changed, or you're going to see a lot of more results. And Alabama's going to end up with 3 or 4 more losses because they're not just better than these teams. And so if you think you can just show up and be better, that we're better by just wearing a certain color jersey, then that's what's going to happen. These are the little things. And this is the captain. And captain, what do they say? Attitude reflects leadership. Captain, in the great movie, what the hell's the name of the movie? Denzel Washington's the coach.
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans. Sorry. I got Disney in my ear over here at the car. Remember the Titans. Attitude reflects leadership.
Obviously fired up Roman Harper.
I'm not even that fired up. I was worse yesterday because me and Cole were talking about stuff and he told me some stuff because he called the game and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it was just a whole bunch of red flags, but it's fine. It's, you know what I mean? I'm still dating her, you know? We ain't going nowhere.
I'm still dating her. All right, Harp, have a good week. I'm glad we got you on early to let you vent a little bit. It was worthwhile. We appreciate the time.
Oh, man. Thanks, guys, man. Hopefully we'll see how it goes. South Carolina's coming in. It'll be a great game. Hopefully so.
Okay. That's it. We'll see. 21.5 point favorite is what Alabama is now. Thank you, Harp.
21.5?
21, not 41. I don't think Alabama can give anybody 41 right now.
No, I'm 21. Okay.
21.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
See you, Harp. Thank you. MyBookie.ag is where you can play that. They sponsor Harp. Code next round to double your initial deposit. That is free money to play with at MyBookie.ag.
You heard the hesitation. I'm still dating her.
But
how toxic is this relationship the rest of the year with Alabama fans and this coaching staff?
I think you'll find out in Knoxville.
Our friends at Hemp Hill bringing you part of the show, Hemp Hill Services. Tell us about Hemp Hill.
205-229-2090. Whether you experience any heating, plumbing, or cooling issue in your home or business, these are the guys ready to serve you. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Hard to stop a train, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
And our friends at Weight of Wellness, your journey to healthy living, a chance for you to jumpstart some weight loss with Leslie and her board-certified team. Also, if you want to change careers, an opportunity for a nutritionist or somebody who could help out Leslie, find out what she has to offer there career-wise at aplanforme.com. Planforme.com, Weight of Wellness, no contracts, no sign-up fees. The first consultation's free. Every plan is designed specifically for you. Sometimes it's not about weight loss, it's about blood pressure or cholesterol. Find out what so many have, that Leslie has the answer for you. Anything that's on the table for weight loss or anything that's out there to help you control that part of your life, she has available for you. Planforme.com. Planforme.com. It's Weight of Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Before we get to four downs and our upset alert in the next segment, I wanted you guys to continue your thought process. I had to jump in there, but you were saying there about falling in love or out of love with this coaching staff.
Yeah, I'm just wondering where Alabama fans are moving forward. I think there's a big hesitation. I think he put it well. There are red flags, but I'm still dating her. And you just wonder how the rest of the season could go and how different a week is.
Yeah, but what about you? I mean, you're a big Kalen DeBoer guy. Is there any hesitation with you?
No, I think there is some interesting things like maybe he hasn't had to deal with entitlement as much. When you get to bigger programs, you deal with more entitled athletes. Maybe something Clay said, you're used to, Kalen DeBoer in Seattle, how many people really know him? Kalen DeBoer in Tuscaloosa, everyone knows him. And, that's a different element that you've got to be able to figure that out. You've got to be able to handle that and navigate through that. I still think, look, he's got the track record. He has absolutely won everywhere he's been. He's won at a high level. He was just coming off beating the number one team soundly, at least through three quarters. I still think he's an A-plus coach. Terrible loss. Terrible loss. No excuse. I don't care how much improved Vanderbilt is. That's a game you can never lose.
I haven't gone game by game. I'm guessing worst loss of his career.
Yes.
He's only had 12.
13 now.
13 now. Only 12 before that.
Never had Vandy being number 13.
Well, here's what's jacked up. For all the accomplishments Kalen DeBoer has had in his 3 short years as a coach at the highest level in the Power 5, now Power 4, he had never been the number one team in the country. And he's there for basically hours.
Yeah, did not handle that well.
No. And you get a Vanderbilt team that we said it 0 for 60 all time against top fives. They get that first win.
Yeah, and I know you guys you didn't give an A+ to the offense. They scored on 5 of 9 possessions. Possessions.
I thought it was a B, maybe.
Okay, but I'm making my point. It's the defense that has got everybody's attention. Here is Kane Womack, who is being described as Kalen DeBoer's major Applewhite to Nick Saban's career, at least right now. Here's Kane Womack yesterday about people talking about the defensive scheme and the way the defense is playing right now.
I think in times like this, it's natural for everyone to hit the panic button. And for us, I think we need to make sure that we're keeping the main thing. Are we playing with great Bama fundamentals? Are we leaning into our keys to victory on game day? And are those things showing up on tape? And then certainly for us, when you ask specifically, I think there's some things that we got to certainly clean up on 3rd and 4th down that really the last 6 quarters, I don't think that we've done to the standard that we're capable of. So that being said, probably the only other piece to that is there is a way the game is supposed to be played from a defensive standpoint with physicality and urgency, and I thought we played a little too much on our heels last week, and certainly that's going to be the number one thought process as we game plan this week is getting our guys to play at a really high physical level.
Okay, so a little bit of what Roman said there, that they played on their heels. They were slow. They weren't giving it all for the team. They were making business decisions, Roman said. There, and there's the coach basically saying that. My question becomes, can this guy, can he get it out of the personnel that's on the field, or in some way on the transition of keeping a roster, earning a roster, and keeping guys like Malachi Moore from transferring out after the transition? Did you somehow be over-the-top player coach, and you can't bring them back into where they're willing to be disciplined by you, to lose playing time by you.
Yeah, once you've let it out there, and especially with guys getting paid, it is almost impossible to be able to bring this thing back. Now, I'm not saying that is going to be they're going to give up 40 every game and lose 3 or 4 more games. I'm just saying I don't think you can pull the plug this part of the season. You could sit those guys. There are plenty of people that want to play. You're just not necessarily going to be playing your best players.
The most alarming thing that Roman said, because the TV copy in the high 22 tells a different story a lot of times. There are things you don't see on TV that show up in the high 22. And apparently once Roman watched the high 22, he saw some guys not going full speed, and that's what scares me to death. You are in a dogfight against a team that should never be on the same field as you. And your response to that is to go half speed, not full speed. That would be what would scare me. If I see a lot of that.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know how many Alabama fans watch the high 22. Very few. But if I'm watching that as a coach, it scares me to death. That was my response to us getting hit in the mouth by a team that shouldn't be in the same game with us. They shouldn't be. We're the number 1 team in the nation. They shouldn't be in the same game with us. They hit us in the mouth for a quarter and a half, 2 quarters. And my response is, I slow down, I don't speed up. That's super alarming. Now, Booker said yesterday he didn't see a lot of that on tape. That's what an Alabama player said. A lot of analysts have looked at it. I saw Jordan Rodgers yesterday questioning Jalen Milroe's effort in trying to keep the guy out of the end zone on the pick 6. When I watched it, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. When I saw the tweet and I saw what Jordan was saying in the tweet, I was like, oh gosh, this is going to look awful for Jalen Milroe. I watched it. It didn't look as bad as I thought Jordan was saying, honestly. But was he going 100% to keep the guy out of the end zone? I don't know. That's alarming to me if I see that, yeah. It's hard to get that back.
But sometimes when you're at Vandy early on in a game, you think to yourself, yeah, that one's on me. Pick six, bad bounce. I'm not gonna risk the rest of the season getting to him. We're about to come back and kick their butts.
That's on it. I mean, this is easy to say in the aftermath. Right. But Lance, if Matt Stafford's throwing a pick 6 early in the game, I'd almost rather give up the 6 than him go try to make a tackle. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you hate to say those words out loud.
You do it in the NFL all the time.
Yeah, I mean, the last guy I won't make it a tackle is Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah. Trust me.
Or Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, well, when Aaron Rodgers threw the pick 6 in the second quarter in London this weekend, I don't remember seeing Aaron Rodgers anywhere near that play.
Yeah. That's my investment.
And that was like a 55-yard return.
And those are business decisions in the NFL. And that's the way I bet your coach to do it as well.
Yeah, it's not just a business decision by the player. It's a franchise business
Archie
decision.
Manning last night, by the way, on the Manning cast with his sons, they were in an exhibition game, the Saints were. They were a horrible expansion team. If you don't know the history of the Saints, go look it up. Archie was a great quarterback who was with some really, really bad teams. Exhibition game. And this is how different the world is now. Exhibition game to open Arrowhead Stadium. He made 3 tackles in that game, he said, with 3 interceptions. First of all,
in a preseason game?
Yeah. First of all, starting quarterback, franchise quarterback, first draft pick maybe in Saints history.
Yeah.
And he played three series at least in an exhibition game. And I misheard him. I think he said they played 6 exhibition games. That can't be true, right?
I don't think so.
This would have been the 60s, maybe. Early 60s?
But I think the regular season was 14 games.
Yeah, but anyway, he said he made 3 tackles in that game, and Payton says that sounds like a bad night. He goes, it was. So when a quarterback's making a tackle, it's never good, right?
Never good.
It's never good.
Yep.
And so, anyway, effort. We'll get to our upset alert 4 downs before Brownie pulls out the envelope on a phrase that I thought I would get from Clay Travis today. I did not, and maybe I just have my history wrong. LT, tell us about our friends at New York Butcher Shop.
New York Butcher Shop. So I did I told you guys Friday night did smash burgers.
Yep.
Picked up the pan of brisket. So did brisket sliders Saturday, brisket quesadilla Sunday. Last night it was a mix, kind of a mash of the brisket and the baked beans, kind of almost like a stew with Wickles pickles on top. Fantastic. Just the variety, the versatility of different things you can do with all of the great meats and sides right there at the New York Butcher Shop. 2 locations, the original Cahaba Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. Get in and see Jim, that great staff. They've also got a fantastic selection of desserts and fine wines. Rare quality, well-done service. It is the New York Butcher Shop.
And our friends at Ghost, by the way. Ends up being Clay's the one that ghosted me in this situation. But our friends at Ghost, they're always there for you. Great hydration when you're looking for really It's thirst quenching, but it also gives you a boost. They are there for you. Ghost Energy, Ghost Hydration, authentic flavors, 0 sugars, no BS. Look for Ghost Energy and Ghost Hydration at all retailers that sell energy and hydration drinks near you.
That one on the far left is the one Jennifer Brown loves.
It's the one that has
it's like citrusy. It's like a mellow yellow taste.
If you need to pick me up in the middle of the day,
she loves those.
Ghost will do it. By the way, Alvin Kamara, I thought ghosted the Saints a little bit last night.
I was sort of happy. It gave me a win in my fantasy football game.
I was happy too. Again, I had the under in Kansas City, but those Chiefs just find a way to win.
Yeah, it did not look like you were getting 100 from Kamara at some point in that game. Just good Chiefs defense. But Clay goes to me on this phrase.
So when I arrived today, this was sitting at my spot. I asked Dunaway, what is this? I thought it had something to do. It says open when needed on this envelope. It's a Double Down Media envelope. It's official. I thought it was going to have to do with the upset alert. He goes, no, this is Clay. Yeah. If I tell you to open the envelope and read what's inside, Clay has triggered it.
We've already oversold this. Don't oversell it anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you have. It's probably something about Alabama being a softball school or basketball school.
No.
And I haven't even seen it.
You know, one of my degrees is from Vandy.
Is that not true? Hadn't he told us before?
I think so. Yeah.
He has no degree from Tennessee. That's the weird thing.
Yeah.
I swear at some point today when he always comes on and talks Tennessee, politics, Tennessee, that today we would have got the Vandy comment of all days.
One of my degrees is from Vandy.
One of my degrees, because he has multiple ones, one of my degrees is from Vandy. We did not get that from Clay.
He does not have one from Tennessee. Tennessee's his rooting interest. That's the one place he did not go to school.
All right. So a mistake by me there, and all the dead wood on the show is cleaned up by our friends at Gray's Tree Services. Gray's Trees, they can come out, listen, not just wood that is already dead and fallen. Sometimes you need trees taken down. I mean, you learned that during a bad windstorm, thunderstorms, snowfall. Sometimes it falls on your house. That can be the most dangerous thing in your yard right now is the possibility of a tree falling.
And there are people listening to us up the East Coast in Florida. Hurricane season is supposed to be the worst in years. We kind of open the show with what's going on in Florida. Don't wait to get tree work done. Protect your house and family today. Trusted by nearly every golf course in town, the Birmingham Zoo. There is no competition. Family owned and operated for over 25 years. Experts in high-risk tree removals, pruning, soil health treatment to strengthen your trees and plants. Call today. Make the phone call that I made months ago, getting those trees extracted from my yard, 205-281-6100. You can scan that QR code that you see on the screen right now, or just visit graystree.com.
The sound of the day maybe from Kirby Smart at his news conference. Kirby getting asked about Alabama losing to Vanderbilt. And in Kirby Smart, who is always trumpeting the SEC, did not back down. Listen in.
I think Vandy's got a great program and does a great job. I mean, it's a lot of other people that don't respect Vandy. I respect Clark Lee. I respect his team, his quarterback, what they've done. They beat Virginia Tech. I mean, somebody told me that 6 of 8 games were decided by one score or less in our league. Nothing shocks me about our league. So Texas A&M, Missouri, welcome to the SEC. It's hard every week, and I got a feeling that it's not going to stop. It's a consistency in performance, and when you ride the wave of emotion, you get caught on the bottom of the wave at sometimes. And we're just trying to do this. We're just trying to keep getting better and keep getting better.
I think Kirby is realistically seeing what we talked about is that back when he was in a weaker East and there was a little bit more control over your roster without NIL and the transfer portal, he could always have the better roster and just dominate week after week after week after week.
And you can make sure that you weren't down here on certain weeks.
And I think Kirby's seeing what we've talked about this week is going undefeated in college football is about to go the way of the dodo bird. It's just not going to happen anymore. Undefeated regular seasons and power conferences, Lance, are going to be a thing of the past. It's just going to get too hard to do it.
Yeah, I agree. But I think this is where, if we go back to Nick Saban, the master when it came to mentally preparing your team, whether it was an up or a down, and I think that's the problem. And because I didn't see a world like – I didn't even think they would come in flat Saturday in Nashville. And I said that. I was like, I think based on the second half, I think this team will be ready to roll. Vanderbilt's already won a game that they shouldn't have. They've already taken a team to the wire on the road that they shouldn't have. So it's not like Vanderbilt's going to sneak up, and that didn't happen. I just, I do think that when you play the Texas A&Ms and the Floridas and the Auburns of the world, those teams week in, week out should be able to beat you on a given Saturday.
Yeah.
But Vanderbilt, I don't care. There should not be a world that we live in right now where Vanderbilt can beat Alabama.
And it will only be echoed even louder with exclamation points Saturday night when Vandy loses at Kentucky. If that happens, everyone around the country will go, oh, Vandy just lost to Kentucky.
Yeah, this makes no sense.
By a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everybody thinks they're going to go up there and play right with Kentucky and maybe even beat them.
They're 2-touchdown underdogs.
That is correct.
I mean, you don't think people around the country are running to the window right now taking Vandy plus 14?
And I'm guessing, you can tell me this, I'm guessing Vegas will take every dollar that they can get now.
Yeah, I was surprised they listed it that high. I would have brought it Kentucky just around 10 because of the buzz coming off. And this is why I've told you guys before, Vegas can say what they want. I don't think they love having 50-50 money.
Sometimes they got a side they really like, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think some of these numbers get inflated, and I think it baits a lot of people. And this probably hits 65% of the time for Kentucky. So it's not like foolproof, but
okay, it's not as good as odds as I thought it was.
Dial it back.
No, but I mean, if you can
AG.
lay 14 and believe 2 out of 3 times it's going to hit, I mean that's a really good percentage in your favor. And I'm not saying that's what the numbers are. It just seems like games like this that seem too good to be true, where I'm catching 14 points as a dog against a offensively challenged Kentucky that just beat Alabama. How can that not be a winner?
Exactly. I mean, this team just scored 40, the most points against Alabama that they've scored since 1906, and they're riding high, and they got this Diego Pavia guy. How are they not just going to – and they're getting 2 touchdowns? Give me all of that, right? LT tells us about our friends at Gutter Cap before we get to the top of the hour here.
Yeah, cap it, don't snap it. One of the dirty, dangerous jobs around the house is obviously getting the ladder out, getting on the roof. If you slip, you fall, snap the neck, and die, you're no good to the wife or kids. Cap it, don't snap it. 45% off the retail price right now. Gutter Cap, patented aluminum cover system. It fits over most existing gutters. It will keep all the debris out. Only water. Keep the gutters clean and free-flowing. The answer is Gutter Cap. 205-823-2212 or guttercapbirmingham.com.
And our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama, UCA, with over 35 urologists on hand, 16 locations across the great state of Alabama, treating all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones. They take care of you guys. So important. You can call this number, 205-930-0920, 930-0920, or go online to urologycentersalabama.com to schedule an appointment today with our friends at UCA. We've got our upset alert when we come back. Is Vanderbilt's logo on one of the big boards getting 14.5 points? We'll find out next on TNR.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at ryanbrownlive.
Bryant Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair. To kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. You can't wait for college football talk every Monday, so we don't make you wait. Ryan Brown here for the next round. You can catch ESPN's Tom Luganville with Jim Dunaway on Monday Morning Live at 7 a.m. I'm with Brandon Marcello on the middle 8 at 8 after the next round. Hear from Alabama coach Kalen DeBoer and Auburn coach Hugh Freeze. After the coaches talk, Fox Sports analyst Brock Heward joins Lance Taylor for Unlocked at 1 o'clock. All college football, all day Monday, anywhere you get the next round.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Hang out with the next round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the next round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
By the way, Kirby's been killing, or at least this past weekend, he was questioning Georgia fans' crowd noise. Not getting enough noise from them.
I just think...
Will you pull up their home schedule for me?
I will. They played Auburn last time.
It was Auburn, a rivalry game. I know it's a rivalry game, but Auburn wasn't in the best Auburn form, and Georgia was coming off a loss.
That was only their second home game.
Yeah, right? I would be like, hey, I'll be louder if you get me better skill players.
Well, how about
they play Tennessee Tech. They've got State next.
Yeah, so 3-0 games so far.
Tennessee, UMass, and Georgia Tech is all that's left. Tennessee's the only good home game they'll have all year.
That's right. That's right. So I know he was raving about the atmosphere at Bryant-Denny Stadium, but here's Georgia coming to play Alabama with obviously number 1 on the line. It ended up. It was a game day setting. I mean, if you've got a crappy home schedule,
which they do,
and they do,
yeah.
I mean, there's not a whole lot to get fired up about. I mean, go on the road and you be barking at people and get all fired up, but it's going to be that kind of atmosphere when you're going to watch a loss.
Yeah,
it's just not going to be like it was at Georgia, Alabama.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I see where Kirby's coming from, but I also look at it from the point of view of the fan. You've never asked more out of me than you do now.
As far as money and stuff?
I've got to fund all these facilities. I've got to fund all this NIL. I've got to fund all these coaching salaries that you're getting paid a ton. The one thing I don't want to hear is you lecturing me about how I act at the game. Yeah. Right? I mean, that's the way I would look at it as a fan. Like, without me, this whole enterprise doesn't work. Without me and 80,000 of me, this whole enterprise doesn't work. So I really don't need a lecture on how I conduct myself at the game on Saturday.
Royal Payne's right, though. He's trying to get them up for the Tennessee game.
Oh, I'm sure.
Good Lord, that's a month away.
I think this would resonate a little bit better if you were undefeated.
Yeah, if you hadn't lost to Alabama. It'd been a little juicier. Inverness Country Club, bringing you this part of the show, and then we'll jump into our 4 downs here in just a second.
Hey, maybe you relocated, maybe you're retired. Inverness, great place to network. Inverness Country Club, great place to meet others in the community. They've got memberships that fit everyone, from the golf, the beautiful course, currently expanding the driving range, social membership, including a resort-style pool complex, full-service cabana and bar, live music on Friday night, Sunday brunch, childcare also a big plus. You and your wife on a day of golf or tennis, guess what? You can drop the kid and go have yourself a day on the court or course. Best days happen at Inverness. To take a tour of this unbelievable club, call Erin today. Tell her the next round sent you. 205-991-8608 or online, iccalabama.com, and make sure you tell them the next round sent you.
And in fairness, the SEC schedule maker didn't do him any favor. You're on the road at Alabama. You're on the road at Texas. You're on the road at Ole Miss. All those have been great home games.
But they also chose to play a neutral site game to start the year. I mean, that was a choice you made quite a while ago. You could have had somebody like Clemson, maybe not Clemson, but somebody like Clemson in Sanford Stadium.
Do you guys remember, and I don't know, I'm just asking this, did Kirby complain about the schedule when it came out?
He did not.
I don't remember him complaining.
You know,
about
and
it,
I just think it's so funny that we look back and nobody really talked about Georgia's schedule. And everybody,
we did.
Yeah, we talked about them playing.
We did, but I'm just talking about the mainstream. Talking about Florida. They talked about Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Nobody really talked about Georgia because you just expected Georgia to be able to go out and just beat these teams.
Yeah, but I remember you bringing it up and you were like, listen, because everyone expects them to win all their games, nobody's talking about their schedule. But if they start losing one, they're going to look at the schedule, and that's exactly what's happening.
And now it's got magnified. Now you're like, damn, really? Like, would you guys even money Georgia goes undefeated in the regular season here on out or loses one?
Oh, I'd go loses one. Because
I would too.
I'm about to ask you, let's just assume they both win right at the point spread this week. That's the result we get. So Georgia beats State by about 35, and Texas beats Oklahoma by 2 touchdowns. What's the point spread for Texas-Georgia?
In Austin.
I think Texas is a 2-point favorite.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, so it's just it's another game just like Alabama.
And it's going to be one of those that we flip it around when Alabama had been 112 consecutive home games or whatever it was as a favorite. I think you're going to see Georgia has been favored outside, and it will have outside of Alabama games
That's right.
in 1,000 straight games. And I just think Texas is going to be a slight favorite. A lot of this depends on how Ewers plays. But, I mean, I expect Ewers to come right back and be fine.
Champy's before we get to our 4 downs, Champy's brings you this part of the show, Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. There's a lot of Champy's Chickens locations in our viewing area, but there's only one that's owned and operated by that man Sterling right there, here and his great crew. Some of those crew members have been there for the entire decade plus that they've been open in Alabaster. That shows you what kind of company Sterling runs right down there. He brines his chicken overnight. He cooks it piping hot to order. Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, hand-cut chicken fingers, all the great sides. It is a destination lunch location with our friends at Champy's Chicken. Before we get to 4 downs, Tyler, let me talk a little baseball here. We get baseball tonight, 4 o'clock, Phillies and Mets, which has been just a bonkers of a series. It's 1-1 on FS1. And then tonight at 8 o'clock Central, Dodgers-Padres, on FS1. It's tied 1-1. They're back in San Diego. It was a zoo in L.A. for those 2 games.
Oh, my gosh. So, the first inning, I don't know if you saw it, but Mookie Betts gets robbed. And the fans had a little back and forth, a little taunt. And then coming out in the 5th inning, and those pavilions get really rough. There was a point in time, and I don't know if it still holds true, but I went to Dodger Stadium multiple times. I sat in the pavilion one time, but they didn't have alcohol sales in the pavilion. It gets wild, just like
they didn't have alcohol sales for safety reasons.
Yeah, bad element.
Yeah.
And so you start seeing one ball thrown out of the pavilion, then another ball, and Manny Machado fires one in the Dodger dugout. I mean, these teams absolutely hate each other.
Machado threw his after he got thrown at, right? And he threw it towards Dave Roberts, hitting the screen in front of him.
Yeah, and Dave Roberts, and obviously the Dodgers super pissed about this.
I love this, by the way.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. And, the Padres were able to run the Dodgers out of the playoffs just a couple of years ago. Now you've got Michael King, who's pitching as well as anybody, going against Walker Buehler. And the Padres are favored in this game, pretty heavy favorite, minus 155. And, boy, that would, in a 5-game series, put serious pressure on the Dodgers to be able to have to win. I do think whoever wins this game tonight is going to win the series.
Because it's basically a best of 3 now.
Yeah. And if you have 2 opportunities to win one game, you're in a pretty good spot. And for the first time since 95, all 4 division series are tied at 1 game apiece, which is really cool.
I've never thought of the Padres having a hostile fan base. Seems like a very laid-back city. You wonder how hostile that environment will be tonight in Petco.
But they've got great home field advantage.
Oh, they've got a great home field advantage.
Loud,
I'm just
towels.
saying that got hostile in
I will
Dodger Stadium.
say this. Dodger fans, not right up and down the third and first base dugouts and right behind the plate, are very much like Rams fans. If there's a similarity there. I just remember watching those Padre games, the Charger games at Jack Murphy, and it seemed like that fan base was rougher than Padres fans.
Okay.
I could be completely wrong.
I don't know
this,
what the atmosphere will
be.
But
I know it's going to be 45,000. They're going to be nuts. I mean, they have really accomplished a really good home field atmosphere in the postseason.
Yeah, so that's tonight, 8 o'clock FS1. Do not miss that. It'll be a fun watch tonight. As LT said, this level of the playoffs started in 1995 because of a strike. I think we had it in 1981 as well. It's never, ever been 1-1 in all 4 games before. So this is
this
is insanity.
I don't know how you guys feel. I think anybody can win these series right now in the American League. And then after watching how Aaron Judge is struggling, 1 for 7, 4 Ks through 2 games against Kansas City, you feel like Kansas City can win it. Not the walk-off, but the top of the 9th home run yesterday from Kerry Carpenter. And you've got a guy in Kloss that has been unbelievable, the closer for the Guardians. He throws 3 straight sliders. I don't know if you guys were watching it.
Yep.
But that was a mash. And for them to be able to, on a Skubal start where he throws 7, Ks 8, gives up no runs, for them to find a way once he's out of the game to still win that game against, right now, one of the top 2 or 3 closers in baseball, that was impressive. So I don't take anything away from Detroit. I think they could still win the series. The Royals could still win the series. I mean, this thing is really wide open, which is awesome.
Yeah, if Skubal pitched every night, Detroit would win it all.
Yeah, they got pretty good. But they couldn't even get run support.
That's right. But LT's point, 7 innings, and it's 0-0. And your bullpen's about to blow it, probably.
But they didn't touch that guy.
Well, and I'll be honest. I had the Chiefs and under, but I did play the Guardians last night, and they were plus 110, and I was like, I'm just going to take a flyer. This Cleveland team has consistently been the best team in the American League. I just got to get to a point where it's such a low-scoring game, and I really should have taken a look at the under, where Skubal get him out of the game and let Cleveland win this game late. And I thought they had that situation. Really, the 2-out single to put Kerry Carpenter into a situation to have the 3-run bomb was the difference.
You say Judge is 1 of 7 with 4 strikeouts. Bobby Witt is 0 for 10, the Royal star. He's 0 for 10 with 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, but if you're like, you feel like New York's got enough to back up Judge.
Yeah.
But if you're Kansas City and Witt is 0 for 10 right now and you're 1-1
going home
to Kansas City,
you feel like you've stolen something.
Yeah.
You just think he's about to get hot. All right. Postseason baseball is fantastic, especially when you don't have any football on the next couple of nights.
We got Liberty.
So sit back and enjoy that. You do have Liberty. That's
and
my
Florida
bad.
International.
Yeah. FIU and Liberty tonight, 6 p.m. CBS Sports Network. It was 17 at mybookie.ag when I checked earlier today. And at mybookie.ag, I put a little on Liberty tonight.
Oh, you've got Liberty, not death?
We've got to play on both baseball games and FIU Liberty tonight at Lance.
Jack State tomorrow night. You stay off my Gamecocks.
And the way he smiled and did not say anything about my play, it makes me wonder if I played the right side. Time for 4 downs. Upset alert coming up. It is time for our friends at Slice. Tell us about Slice, LT.
Again, I had friends coming in from Nashville on Friday night, and they said, you know what, smash burgers sound great, but we'll see you later Friday night. We're going to Slice. They went to the original location in Lakeview. There's one in Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park. Newest location in Edgewood. Get to see the Bajaya Brothers local pizza, local ingredients. Try out one of their specials today. Slice and a salad, delicious wings, fantastic desserts. Get into one of those 5 locations today of Slice.
First down.
More surprising, Vanderbilt sitting at 3-2 or Auburn at 2-4?
Auburn 2-4, though Vandy 3-2 is very surprising. Tomorrow we'll give you our first half grades, by the way, as we reach the midterms for some teams. But 2-4 Auburn, with that schedule, you just didn't think that they'd be 2-4 after 6. Worst case scenario, I thought they would be 3-3, maybe 4-2, possibly 5-1. Did not think they'd be 2-4. 2-4 wasn't on the table.
It's close, but Vanderbilt, I didn't see any path to victory on one of these 3 wins. And look, you could get Alcorn State and Georgia State, which they did get Georgia State.
That only gives you the 2.
Yeah, that's the
right.
more incredible thing. They've got 3 wins with a loss to Georgia State, but they would have had to get in Virginia Tech. They were a double-digit underdog. At Missouri, double-digit underdog. Alabama, double-digit underdog. I didn't see how they could get any of those games, and for them to get 2 of those 3 is pretty incredible. I think it's close.
And by the way, you go back and watch that Missouri game again.
Oh, they should have won.
Vandy should have won that game. And after
they should be 5-0.
They're legitimately two plays from 5-0.
Hey, and if they played 9 out of 10 times right now, I'm not sure Missouri wins 3 of them.
Can you imagine though if they were really? You're right. If they were 5-0 and somehow beat Kentucky.
Oh my God!
I don't think they would. But then they go to 6-0. They beat Ball State, and then they're playing Texas. And at that point, Vanderbilt's a top 10 team. And I'm not exaggerating because right now Indiana, I think, is 16th in a poll. If Vanderbilt, with these wins, was undefeated, they would be in the top 15. And at that point, they'd be in the top 10.
18 in the AP, 16 in the coaches, I believe.
I'm just going to say, if Vandy had been 4-0 going into that Alabama game, they would not have beaten Alabama.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that, too.
That would be the other side of that.
But
if you want to play the great what-if game.
People are asking in my timeline, why do you guys see Kentucky beating Vandy so bad? And it's not just the point spread.
Well, I think
but
Kentucky's
it's style, right?
Well, yeah, and I think they're the better team.
Well,
I think Kentucky's one of these physical teams. They're not going to miss tackles. Say what you want about Womack's defense right now and the talent disparity between what you've got with the Kentucky roster and the Alabama roster. Kentucky always plays really sound defense. And I think watching that film, they are going to be fired up to invite Vanderbilt in. And I think Kentucky will pop them.
Stoops is the better coach defensively than what Alabama has right now, than Kane Womack. Stoops a better defensive coach. Stoops a really good defensive coach. And Kentucky's not going to get bothered if the game gets ugly. That's the way they want to play the game. So when Vandy made the game ugly, it bothered Alabama. That ain't going to bother Kentucky.
Second down.
More surprising in the Big 12, Colorado 4-1 or BYU 5-0?
Colorado 4-1. Now, again,
I think I've got to agree with this because Kalani Stocky, I've seen some dips and back and forth. I just didn't see Colorado do this.
Almost every other year.
It feels like it. I don't know if the numbers would support that. Now, the 4-1 with Colorado, we so easily forget that Baylor did absolutely everything but win that game. They really shouldn't be 4-1. They should be 3-2, but it counts as a win. They're 4-1, which is far better than I thought.
And I will say this. I will have Kansas State wheeled. Whether or not they win, I don't know. Yes, I will have them every which way possible.
That's what I was going to guess. Every which way possible.
Yeah, like Kansas State.
Money line,
is this going to approach your NC State, Florida State, and your, who was it? It was USC
against Utah.
Yeah.
Alabama against A&M one year.
Yeah.
There's been somebody. This will be one of those games.
The most confident I've ever seen Lance.
Oregon last year against Colorado.
That's right. I do remember that. That was a bloody beat.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about Kansas State coming off a bye. And I don't know how you can go into Colorado not thinking, hey, look, this offense is dynamic. Like, Shedeur is that good. We've got to be able to get to the quarterback. We have got to basically physically pound Shedeur into the ground, and I think Chris Kleiman will have a plan, and they'll be ready to execute that in Boulder, and that's going to be a great atmosphere, though.
Yeah. By the way, if Colorado wins that game, they'll be ranked the next week. They'll be an AP.
Yeah, they should be.
Third down.
Chevy Chase, 81 years old today. Better career, Chevy Chase or the creator of The Sopranos, David Chase?
What else did David Chase do?
He's done some other, I forgot what television shows he's done. He's worked on a lot of different ones. This is his first baby, though.
Did he do, this is going to be a silly comment. Did he do the show The Practice or Ally McBeal, one of those two back in the 90s?
No, I think that was the guy that does all the FX stuff now. David Kelly, maybe?
David Kelly, that's the name. Yeah.
But I would go David Chase. To me, it's the greatest television series in the history of TV. I think it's one of those, much like, I know you like Andy Griffith, right?
Yeah, Andy Griffith's good.
But that's one of those iconic shows that people talk about in 100 years.
Still on all the time.
That's going to be The Sopranos. Chevy Chase lost his fastball quickly.
He did.
After about a 10, 15-year run.
Yeah.
He has never been the same. I don't think it's personally close, but I needed a Chase.
It's not Chevy Chase is better than David.
Oh, I would go David.
Yeah, just on Sopranos, I'd go David Chase. I've seen this guy before. Has he done a little bit of acting?
David Chase?
Yeah.
No.
Is this him?
Yes.
Was he in the show with Vinny Chase?
Entourage?
Chase? Entourage? Was he in Entourage?
He might have played himself in Entourage.
I think he did. I think
maybe.
And he the guy that walked out and smoked pot with him outside the bar, and you don't remember?
No idea.
Yeah.
Is he confusing him with a guy that was living in the basement in Ozark? When I don't know the actor's name.
Oh, that is.
Was he in Entourage?
I don't remember. I haven't seen Entourage in 20 years.
Yeah. Just on the fact of Sopranos, I'll go David Chase as well too.
They were both HBO shows, so
that's good.
David Chase could have had a cameo.
Tyler's right. Could have been a marketing crossover.
Fourth down.
Bruno Mars, 39 years old. Matt Damon, 54. Better career.
Matt Damon and who?
Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars burned really, really quick there for a while. I really liked him for.
I gotta go Matt Damon here.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I like Matt Damon a lot.
The thing, Bruno Mars has been doing it for like 30 or 40 years. I'm sure he's got another or two really big releases coming up, I would assume. I mean, anything he releases is pretty hot.
Yeah, he got a Grammy with Anderson .Paak for their collaboration. I think it was Silk Sonic is the name of their group.
That may as well have been in French, but okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to lean Bruno Mars here, but it's close.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Matt Damon.
Daniel in the mybookie.ag chat room says Bruno still has a residency in Vegas, I think. That was supposedly gambling issues, right?
Yeah.
Why he had to do the residency in Vegas is he was way down.
Yeah, little fella likes to wager a little bit.
A little fella doesn't mind letting the dollar ride.
I bet it's a fun show. Is that
it probably is.
Oh, yeah, he's a good entertainer, no doubt. That is 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice. Stop in for lunch, pick up a couple of pies on your way home. Created by the late Jeff Bajaya, his brothers continue to celebrate his legacy. Get in, see Jason, Chris. Tell them the next round sent you. 5 locations.
All right, upset alert time now. A little late because of our stack lineup. If you missed Payton Thorne, Auburn quarterback, and former Alabama, now SEC analyst Roman Harper, you can get that wherever the podcast. Upset alert time is what we do every, Tuesday here during the year. Let's look at the standings because Browning LT came back with outright wins last week, and we're jammed up, man.
Oh, I'm back in it.
Slight lead by me, 1.5, like a race at Talladega, separating the top 3, and then here comes Brown. You're never out of it because, as the rules state, minus 4.5, and you get 5 points for a cover, and then whatever other points if you get an outright win. And the reason I'm 2-4 but in the leads because I've had a couple of big winners. Minimum spread plus 4.5, 5 points for the cover, 5 points plus the spread for the outright win. We changed the rule, which is why that's the way it is at the bottom there. After I said these are the rules and we're sticking with it, we changed it 30 seconds later. It's brought to you by McCurry. Brandy's going to tell us about McCurry after we get the button hit here.
The College Football Spotlight.
Sound the alarm. College football's upset alert.
When it comes time to rent from McCurry. If you need a van, car, or truck, rent from McCurry. Van and car rental, local rental company you can depend on. SUVs, passenger vans, trucks. They make it easy to rent in and out fast. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Call and reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com. That is McCurryRentals.com.
We'll say Brown for last. Let's start with Forrester in the back, Tyler. If you can give me Forrester's microphone. Forrester is basically tied for the lead like LT and I are. So Forrester is going to punch up his mic there. What do you have for me, Forrester, today?
Well, first, Duke blew it last week. Could have gotten me another win.
They did. They
led after 3 quarters. Took foot off the gas.
Yeah, you're spitting facts. That is all true.
Who's the best team in the SEC?
Are you going Vandy? It's not Vandy.
All right, now it's Texas.
Texas.
Well, I mean, by default, you would have to go Texas.
You're going Mississippi State.
It is Texas. Yes.
Who do the Longhorns have next week?
Boomer Sooner.
Boomer Sooner. No,
they
got
Georgia next week.
No, this week they got their rival, Oklahoma.
But next week, they've got Georgia.
For sure, they can't be looking ahead.
No, he's doing the old look ahead.
The Red River rivalry is a trap game. Boomer Sooner. They're going to take down the Longhorns. They're catching, I think it's 14.5.
I believe that is correct.
I hope you're right here, Forster. I just want a really good game, and I would say you're crazy until I saw Vanderbilt beat Alabama. Can you imagine if you would have had Vanderbilt last week? Everybody would have said, it's an Auburn fan. He doesn't really believe that.
Yeah. What does he know? Why do you let him pick? He's in the back. He doesn't even draw anything. Yeah. So Oklahoma, I'm with you.
I don't have anything else going on.
I'll go next. I am going with one of our service academies. I am taking Air Force plus 6.5 after the big win opening week to Merrimack. They have lost 4 consecutive games, all by double digits. They haven't been good. Now they go to take on New Mexico in Albuquerque. Air Force, one of less than a handful of teams that is yet to cover. I think not only did they cover, they win. This is not what I wanted. I got a text early from you this morning, so I went away from the game that I was going to take because I thought you were taking them, and then you didn't even take them.
You both went away from it.
But you told me you were taking them when you got in there, so I changed mine.
I don't think there's anything wrong with us taking the same team.
I don't either.
No,
I didn't say anything.
But then he came in here and changed his, and then you changed yours. So after you give it Y'all give the one you both didn't pick because it is a guaranteed
you know it's gonna hit.
Oh, yeah.
winner.
Oh,
Yes.
I love the game we did not play.
Yeah, I switched mine to because I need something I could draw quickly.
Well, by the way, there's only a few teams that fit in this category,
Yeah,
unless
it
you
was a
want to
tough
take
week.
a 14-plus dog like Forrester did.
Yeah, UCLA plus the 5.5 as they roll home game, almost an hour away from the campus, but home game at the empty Pasadena Rose Bowl with Minnesota. I've been told all year, worst quarterback situation in major college football, Minnesota.
It's got a little better.
They did win.
Gotten a little bit better. I do wonder how Minnesota handles the win against USC. Minnesota is actually better than UCLA, but UCLA finds a way to cover every week. Ugly covers, but if you're fading UCLA like I have, you're getting burned on this.
I picture some UCLA fan, some USC fan calling up to Jim Rome's show in Los Angeles yesterday and saying, USC losing to Minnesota is like coming home and finding my wife sleeping with somebody. I may forgive her, but I'll never forget it. UCLA fans hold that over their heads. UCLA ends up beating the team that beat USC last week. That's the Dunaway lock here.
Okay.
Who's here?
Brown Bandit.
Back with a win.
What did I tell you this month was, boys?
Locktober.
I found the combination.
We haven't returned that yet.
No, Jim. It's Locktober. I got 2 months to return this thing. I only need it for 1 month. Locktober, baby, and it started last week. You remember who I had, Jimmy D?
Who'd you have?
I had Syracuse. What happened Friday night?
They won on a Friday night
Yeah, I
game.
went out to Vegas and won. That's who I gave out here on the show. But if you follow me on Truth Social, Parler, and my Slack channel, I gave everybody the Vanderbilt money line. I said, Vanderbilt beats Alabama. Go play the Vanderbilt money line. And if you follow me on those three, you played the Vanderbilt money line and you cashed in. So did I. I took everything.
You tell me, even though the rates are up a little bit, refinance because the game's that big?
Yeah, well, I didn't do that. I didn't have to do that because I own my own house. And I fly in a private jet. Me and my son were in a private jet flying back. So I didn't get to tell everybody
Wi-Fi
on social media Wi-Fi wasn't good. But we were when we landed and I saw that Vandy had beaten Alabama, I said that's who I told everybody to play. Fortunately, Lance, I own my own house, so I just put every dime I had on it. So I brought you guys a little something. There you go, Lance, just for being a good friend. Would you pass one to Jim?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we're good.
You don't get props back, by the way.
Do you not? That's a real 100. You don't have to like
I do like how they take that little brown thing.
I like that's going to
and
tell
I'm like,
you.
I've never seen this. Well, what are you going to do? Are you going to detain me?
Well, I printed that at home. My bad.
For sure. Chances of him getting the props back, right? Isn't there a rule on the show you don't get the props back?
Rules are rules.
Yeah.
You can buy lunch for this now.
Yeah, that's right. I'll get you a tank of gas.
That's what I'm losing on the golf course these days.
So now that I've given you a certified outright winner twice this month, I'm going to give you number 3. Jim, what's your biggest fear in life?
Scorpions?
I don't like flying.
Okay. I just asked for one.
Don't like getting old.
Go ahead and give me a list.
Don't like dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those 3 things.
Lance, your biggest, you don't like dying? Have you ever tried it?
I haven't tried it.
Okay. How do you know you don't like it?
Could be something great on the other
that's
side.
Right. You have no earthly idea.
In fact, I've been betting on it.
Yeah. Lance, your biggest fear in life?
Biggest fear in life, I don't like flying either.
Okay.
And
you and Jim should not fly together.
Yeah.
You've done it.
Not a big snake fan.
Not a big snake fan.
Yeah.
You know what everybody needs to fear this weekend? What do you think you need to fear this weekend?
Locktober?
The fork! Fear the fork!
The fork.
Arizona State playing host to Lance's favorite team in football, the Utah Utes. They're catching 6.5. 6.5 free points. But I'm so hot in October right now with my Vandy money line private special on my private jet. And with Syracuse winning outright, boys, this plus 6.5, you can do what I don't want you to do with that $100 bill. You can crumble them up and throw them away because you do not need them. Arizona State plus the 6.5 wins this game in Tempe outright. You're welcome.
Okay, I am going to be shocked coming off a bye if Whittingham loses this game.
You'll be shocked.
But, I mean, it is the Brown Bandits.
It is the Brown Bandit, and it is Locktober.
That would mean the state of Arizona sweeps Utah this year.
That's right.
That was our other game.
Yes.
LT and I both liked Arizona.
Go Arizona. Thank you, boys. Good to see you all.
Nice seeing you. I would tell you, did all of our money from the buckets at SEC Media Days, they're talking about this in the chat room.
Yeah.
Did from all the envelopes,
it all made
money,
it back.
Did it make it back
all
into petty
we
cash?
gave it all away, I think. I thought we gave it all away.
I don't think we gave it all away. Is that where these came from? Are you giving this back to the company now?
No, it came from my pocket.
All right. McCurry brings us that upset alert there.
McCurryRentals.com.
By the way, did the Brown Bandit know whether or not Cam Rising's playing?
McCurry, nobody knows that. Kyle Whittingham does not know if Cam Rising is playing.
God doesn't even know that.
Yes.
God knows every hair on Cam Rising's head, but he doesn't know if he's playing.
Yes. That has become the biggest mystery in college football. McCurryRentals.com. McCurryRentals.com.
Yeah. Can you pass this back to Brown? I know he's not going to let me keep it.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, there you go. Back to Brown.
Guys, appreciate that.
All right. Well,
Thanks for playing along.
When we come back, we'll do trash and then talk to Michael Eady. We'll talk about Alabama coming to play basketball against Wake Forest, and we have a fun announcement that hopefully you guys will like as well coming up on the show. That's being brought to you by our friends at HydroLive LT, an opportunity to get ready for all the big games.
Well, I need
55 days of football.
Need to know who needs a bag. Our quarterback, Daniel Jones, is coming in this Friday, so I just need to know who needs B12, who needs an IV bag, compression, therapy, cryotherapy. This is all under one roof. But much like Daniel, our nurse that comes out, they can actually send somebody to your home or business. HydroLive Therapy is open daily 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. They've also got weight loss therapy. HydroLive combines hydration therapy with targeted weight loss treatments. They provide a comprehensive approach to weight management. You can book your appointment online, hydrolivetherapy.com. Walk-ins are welcome. 2 locations in Birmingham, 1 in Tuscaloosa. Make sure you mention the next round, 20% off all services.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at jimdunaway.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the next round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the next round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the next round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, E.g., that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Heading to trash, this hour brought to you by our friend Dr. B. Before you bring up Dr. B, Seth, I looked this up last night. Seth says, did you guys all see Jaheim Otis's portal agent, his representation? It's
tell me he's got the same guy that Tommy DeVito has.
It's no, it's not. It's Lil Wayne's company.
Oh yeah,
now the main agent guy.
John Wayne never had a main agent guy.
That's a good point.
The main agent guy is a SMU grad. He's got a history of being a sports agent, but he's a younger guy. But the money, the other guy, the two top guys, the other guy's rapper Lil Wayne. So that's the agency that Jaheim is with. So I went and looked about the agency. And, yeah.
Is that him? That's the agent Scott showed us?
Yeah. What's his name?
Noah Reisenfeld,
yeah. Who's
I've seen that guy somewhere. Where have I seen
whose apartments he trespassing in? Sure as hell ain't his.
It looks like Sean McVay's, to be honest with you.
I mean, that damn thing in New York City, that's probably, I don't know, 20, 25 grand a month. But probably more than that, probably 30, 35 grand a month.
Yeah, insanity. So we'll see where Jaheim Otis ends up, but it's a new world when you have the ability to go make some money. Tell us about Dr. B, and we'll do one thing before we do trash.
Our friend Dr. B, for more than 20 years, women and men have turned to him for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B and that great staff today. Tell them the Next Round sent you. 205-319-0316. When I first went to see Dr. B, was really thinning out the crown of my head. My hair has more than doubled in thickness doing that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time. Did it last night during Saints Chiefs. Make the phone call that me and Brown both made, 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net for more information.
Okay, quickly to trash. Hit the big button, Tyler, right after I tell everybody it'd be good to be Payton Thorne today, Brownie. He won the Korn Ferry Championship yesterday, or this weekend. SEC Power, where did he go to school?
Ole Miss, hotty toddy gosh.
You knew the answer. I was trying to get to say Georgia or somewhere else. 2017 Ole Miss grad, but Thornberry now on the PGA Tour with that win, so he's locked into some cash in the future. We're locked into trash. Hit it, Tyler.
Bag up, Terry. What did he reverse, Terry? What did he reverse? Oh, Lord, Jesus. Oh, Jesus. What you doing, Terry?
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Proud to partner with our friends at Mortgage Right from day one. It is buying season always. Our friends at Mortgage Right want to remind you before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information. Go to their website, mortgageright.com/TNR. Call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Are you guys a fan of chicken and waffles?
Okay, so that's a complicated question, Lance. I've eaten it many times. I don't dislike it. It is a lot. Like when you cover it in syrup, a lot of bread, in it.
I think the best way I have had it was with one not oversized waffle, very crisp, by the way, and then almost like between a chicken finger and a chicken nugget,
and see, that's
a
the
boneless
problem.
chicken.
Yeah, boneless chicken. Like I think in its most traditional way, it's served with bone-in chicken.
Yeah, and which of the flavor is better, but it's just too big of a pain in the ass to function.
It's a lot, and now you get syrup all over your hands. Yeah.
For me, it's got to be one big breast of fried chicken, juicy breast, and then I like the waffles. I like it. I don't get it a lot, but I like it. I don't pour the syrup over my chicken.
I will guarantee. I love like whether it's bacon, sausage, chicken. I love all that in the syrup.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys are going to go to this place for the new chicken and Eggo waffles pizza. CC's is releasing this.
I've not been to a CC's in quite a while.
I didn't know they still existed. It used to be clients of ours way back in the day.
Lance,
There
I would try a piece.
I would try a piece.
Tyler, you would too. You said.
I would too. But,
Yes,
back
CC's
to regular chicken and waffles, you can't do bone-in chicken and
Yeah,
waffles.
that's-
It's way too much.
I'm with you on
It
that,
is.
yeah.
It's just too much. I mean, if the flavor is great. Like if somebody wants, if I had Clay Travis money and I could have my personal chef pull the chicken off the bone, and then you've got the pulled chicken on the waffle, would be delicious.
Yeah.
So the chicken and egg waffles pizza, CC's is offering a medium for $9.99, a large for $11.99, and a giant for $14.99. The president, Jeff Hetzel of CC's Pizza, quote, chicken and waffles are an iconic pairing that has brought families together for generations. By partnering with Kellanova to take on this one-of-a-kind creation, we're bringing our guests fun and an innovative take on a flavor combo perfect for celebrating National Pizza Month.
Again, I'd give it a whirl. I'm not going to say it'd be my favorite pizza, but listen, Slice has a pizza that is Conecuh sausage, turnip greens, black-eyed peas. I love that's not traditional.
Yeah, I would say this: if Slice was doing it, I'd give it a shot. In this situation,
Do you trust Slice a little more than CC's?
In this situation,
Yes,
I will not
yes,
give
I
it a
do.
shot.
This is either one of the dumbest criminals of all time or it was an inside job and they purposely did this. I lean they purposely did it, but you guys give me your take. A woman filmed herself shoplifting at Walmart's self-checkout before getting caught by the supermarket chain's AI-powered cameras and still shared the clip to TikTok. Now, the shopper known on TikTok as Nesha. She captioned the clip, point of view when you usually don't get caught, and now you're banned for 2 years from all Walmarts in my area.
I can, as one person taught me this phrase, I feel like I can almost see Nesha's Christmas.
Yes.
Now, the clip is
Did she get those
amassed
boots at Walmart?
over 2.2 million views, shows her scanning several items through Walmart's self-checkout system before she pretends to scan a backpack, places it in her shopping bag without actually processing the barcode.
Was one of them underwear, and they took that back, and is that why she's not wearing it?
I did wonder how our retailers have gotten so lazy and you've got all these self-checkouts. I'm like, if you're scanning Powerades and you've got like 3 or 4, how you couldn't just put another one in your bag?
Yeah.
But according to this, the till screen then lights up. The notification pops up saying associate is on the way, preventing her from scanning anything else from checking out. As the store employee comes over and scans, and the screen tells her missed scan detected with an overhead video recording showing the customer purposely not scanning the barcode as they move it over the till. Nisha then moves her camera onto the employee who was covering her mouth and laughing. Nisha wrote in a caption, even though she laughed, she called the manager, police, and had us escorted outside. Hashtag stealing gone wrong. Now, Walmart estimates, how much do you think they lose in shoplifting per
and this is
per
built
year?
into the business.
Yeah,
plan.
I mean, no, they just factor this in on the.
I don't believe this number, but
I am going to say $283 million.
I was going to say half $500,000.
$500 million?
No.
Oh.
I was going to $365 million, $1 million a day, and then I was going to cut that in half.
Okay.
But you went higher than me,
So
I'll go with
$180
Brown.
million.
Yeah.
I don't. This is $3 billion. They said.
I mean, what do they make?
Yeah, I mean, like
$3 billion a year.
$3 billion a year, according to them. I would love to see how many locations they got, which is easy to find, and then break down the $3 billion by those locations. And
I'd hire.
I don't think it's possible.
I'd hire me one great security team with $3
But
billion a year.
do you guys agree this was like she wanted to be caught?
Yeah, I think so.
But why is she going to jail? Is she being fined?
It looks like she's making videos.
I mean, if we're
like.
making videos of this, there's got to be some repercussions, right? I mean, you need to be arrested.
Well, I'll
You need
say
to be
this.
arrested.
You know, even though they had the overhead camera, I think this is one of those. You hire a guy like Tommy Spina, you're not doing any time because it was a customer mistake. I thought I heard the beep go off.
Yeah. Boop.
Okay,
Boop.
that's a great argument.
Yep.
Unless I post something that says,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
robbery gone wrong.
Then
At
you
that
got a problem.
point, your ass
Now-
is going to jail.
Now,
Or if you take a video covering your mouth and laughing,
Yeah.
while they
You're going to
while they
jail.
reprimand you for stealing.
No, I'm not going to
Walmart's-
keep you. I'm not going to keep you overnight, but somebody's going to come bail you out, and then you're going to go stand in front of a judge, and you're going to tell me what you did. We're going to make you pick up some garbage down the road, and hopefully you learn and you don't do it again.
10,586 locations, Lance, currently. And their 2024 revenue is anticipated to be $648 billion. So if you can show me a business where I can give up $3 billion and make $648 billion, I will sign up tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll put it this way: if you pour $686 billion of draft beer, you're probably going to lose $3 billion.
Probably so. Yeah.
Hey, by the way, polled 100 basketball coaches, The Athletic. Number one, the coaches that say they truly believe the team with the most NIL
Arkansas.
And
they still haven't got the $500 million to bring, or $500,000 to bring the slobber and hog back at half court.
By the way, number 9's Alabama.
Wow.
According to the 100 coaches.
I would have said they were top 10.
That's good, though.
A vigilant Uber driver and quick-acting deputy stopped a potentially deadly arson attempt in Florida on Sunday night. Authorities said the suspect, 33-year-old Carlos Flores, reportedly angry over a $100 debt he claimed was unpaid by a friend. The debt came from a night out at a strip club where Flores had loaned the money for, quote, entertainment purposes. Despite his friend's claims that the debt was repaid, Flores remained unconvinced and decided to take what we will call drastic measures. It looks like he had a rough bender right there, our man, Carlos Flores. Now, he hired an Uber driver to drive him to his friend's house, where authorities said he shockingly revealed his plan to the driver. Now, armed with a detergent bottle filled with gasoline and a lighter, Sheriff's Office said Flores intended to burn down his friend's home. The driver, alarmed by Flores' confession and the presence of the gasoline, discreetly called the deputies, fearing the worst. According to Sheriff William Snyder, quote, "I think the Uber driver giving us the phone call was so important. It's really a message to the whole community. If you see something or hear something wrong, take it seriously." So they got him before.
Yeah, good job. I think EG and Taylor would recommend to him that if he rubbed ice cubes on his eye around his eyes there to take down the puffiness when he first wakes up, and maybe a little concealer before he gets that photo taken.
Did you see the mugshot of the Tennessee fan
yeah.
that got in a fight? Did you see that at the Arkansas game?
It's terrible.
Boy, he got that eye dotted and got that lip popped, didn't he? That was a rough look.
Finally, the 10 best TV shows to binge watch, according to Ranker. Ranker.com put together a list of over 400 of the best TV shows to binge watch, a.k.a. shows best watched in a marathon. Here are their top 10. Sons of Anarchy, I've only seen a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
People swear by it. I didn't necessarily like it.
Not a big Ranker rankings guy. I don't believe in the Rankers rankings. Because it's
the site, the Ranker.
You should vote then, Joe.
What now?
You should vote then.
I'm just saying that the Ranker
you can't complain if you don't
just
vote.
Random. There's no rhyme or reason.
Tyler's right. They tell me all the time, I cannot complain about the president if I didn't vote.
Yeah.
So you can't complain about this.
Number 9 on the list is House. I've never seen it. I heard Hugh Laurie is great in it.
Boy, he
just seems very annoying.
Yeah, the scenes I've seen, he gets on my nerves.
Number 8, Supernatural, another one I've never seen.
What is this about?
Something supernatural.
Is that Superman like he's a kid?
No, it's two brothers that hunt down like demons and monsters and stuff. I don't know if I'd binge watch this because you get in a sort of a real repetitive nature where every episode is just the same.
Number 7, The Sopranos. I mean, I've got it. Like, if anything's not on right now, I'm almost to the final season, my 5th time through The Sopranos. It is just...
You've gone 5 times.
Oh, yeah. This will be 5 times. It's fantastic.
I'm waiting. You've got me inspired. I've only seen it once all the way through. I'm going to watch it in the offseason.
Number 6 on the list, Friends.
Yeah.
Seen a few episodes, not a fan.
You didn't like it. Very popular show, obviously.
Number 8, Sherlock. I tried it one time. And Benedict Cumberbatch is supposed to be great in this role. Have you watched it? I watched one episode.
I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah,
I tried to
So
get
y'all did
into
not
it.
hook into that one at all.
And number 4 on the list, The Office. I was a fan of The Office.
Love The Office. Now, when Steve Carell leaves.
Yep. I've seen it all the way through a couple times.
Have you?
It's on. It's on a lot.
I've seen about 50% of them, probably.
Yeah.
Number 3 on the list, Breaking Bad. You can't go wrong with Breaking Bad.
That's how I consumed it. I binge watched it, and it was absolutely
easy
terrific.
to binge.
Easy to binge.
Number 2, Stranger Things. I like Stranger Things. I think it's a little overrated, but I do like it.
I didn't make it past year 2. I can still go back and watch this.
Yeah, no, I think it gets better. I mean, there's one down season. I forgot which one it was. Last season was pretty good, though.
I thought the second season was probably the lowest.
Yeah. Number 1 on the list, Game of Thrones. And outside of that final season, and there were even some good moments in the final season. Game of Thrones is fantastic.
I've only gone all the way through Game of Thrones once, so I got Sopranos and Game of Thrones to go back through and watch again and to finish Breaking Bad for the first time. So I got the good TV in my retirement years still to come. All right. That is Trash, brought to you by Mortgage Right.
Yeah, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right want to remind you, whether you're looking for your final home or your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, they are your mortgage experts. 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
Okay, we're going to bring in our guest, but while we're doing that, over in Tuscaloosa, we've got a video apology now from Malachi Moore. Malachi Moore having a chance to talk to the media today for the first time, and Tyler's going to cue it up for us. Forrester's worked very hard here to get us this audio.
Yeah, EG over there with the players. I think she's the one that asked this question. Like, can we Can we get it on camera?
Here's Malachi Moore as we get our guests set up here.
Yeah, for sure. Just want to apologize again to my family, my teammates. The way I acted, out of frustration. We put in so much work throughout the summertime, and I look at my teammates, man. I see D-Law, and I'm thinking about all the time we've been outside running gashes. I look at Hugh Robinson, Zebo, Tim Smith, guys that have been here 5 years and put in all that work, and for us to go out there and not play up to our standard, it definitely was frustrating to me, but I take full accountability for that. Let my actions get the best of me, and it won't happen again.
A new Bama in Bourbon being recorded when we're done here, and we'll hear what LT and Aaron Suttles think about Malachi Moore, his apologies, and where Alabama goes next. Speaking of Alabama, we had Nate Oates on the show yesterday. Nate was pretty fired up about Friday night, an opportunity to raise the Final Four banner. Again, 8:30, that ceremony at Coleman Coliseum, rolltide.com for that. And then he was super pumped up about going to play at Boutwell here in Birmingham because he was talking about the intimate environment that's going to be there, Brownie.
Well, and it's put on by the Knight Eady Group, great friends of ours who do a lot of good work here in the sports community in Birmingham and all through Alabama. Michael Eady's the president of that group. He is in studio with us to discuss that and make a couple big announcements about that game. First of all, how are you?
I'm great, guys. Thanks for having us on.
Good. Just go and get on the mic. Don't be afraid of that mic.
Yeah, get up on it.
I know you're
All
not
right.
afraid to talk.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to talk, but don't always have a microphone in front of me, which is probably a good thing. So, the game is next Friday. So the following Friday, October 18th at 7 p.m. at Boutwell Auditorium. It is a unique environment. There's only about 2,000 seats in there, and we've got a partnership with Nike and Hibbett where they're going to be giving away some exclusive Nike apparel. They're promoting the new Ja 2 shoe, which comes out this month. So you'll see a lot of programming during timeouts and halftime where fans are going to have chances to win shoes, gift cards, all kinds of exclusive things from Nike. So we're really fired up about it. There has not been a game in Boutwell Auditorium, a college basketball game, in almost 50 years. So
I hate the way you looked at me. I was not at that game.
No, I
didn't look at you, Jim. I didn't look at you.
Michael, I was going to ask you, my formative years, I grew up in Boutwell going to concerts all of the time.
Yeah.
And, back when you were a kid, you were like, damn, this venue's big. But I went in there for something, some kind of exhibition or something. I was like, it's a lot smaller than I remember it.
Yeah.
So, the layout of a basketball game, has that been a challenge at all?
Yeah, I mean, we will, obviously, it's not a basketball facility, so we will be bringing in LED boards, we'll be bringing in the court, we'll be bringing in all the floor seating, and then it is a unique environment. There's a stage on one end because it is primarily used for concerts, and so it will feel different than a normal basketball game, and that's what I think has fans excited about it, has Coach Oates excited about it, and the team excited about it. Is that, with some of these exhibition games, they'll be played just like a normal game. You'll have your normal timeouts. Coaches are obviously trying to win the game, but it will feel a little different because of the way and the venue that it's being played in, and these exhibition games give us the ability to do that.
Yeah, I am old enough to remember, I think it was the early 90s, that Alabama played an NCAA tournament game with Antonio McDyess in Baltimore Civic Arena or
Against
something.
Penn, right?
Penn or Princeton,
I
one
think
of
it
the
was
two.
Penn, yeah.
And there was a stage at the end
Yeah.
of that. Like they used to build arenas with a stage at the end, and they just put the pep bands up there. I'm not telling
Yeah.
you how to do your layout or anything.
Jim would never do that, Michael.
For sure.
They
We do have some things planned, like the stage is going to kind of be a reception area. There'll be some high boys and some soft seating, and then we've got there's some bars underneath the stadium as well. So yeah, it's going to be a really cool environment. There's really not a bad seat in there. There's only 2,000 seats, so everybody's kind of on top of the floor. So the energy in the building, we'll have a DJ. We're going to try to make it feel a little bit more like an NBA game. If you've been to an NBA game, you hear music during the game, not just during timeouts and things like that. So I think the energy level will be really awesome.
So let me ask you, how do I get tickets? Do I have to go through Alabama? Do I go through you guys? How do I get the easiest way for me to get tickets?
Not part of the season ticket package, totally separate ticket, BamaInBoutwell.com. When you go on there, you'll see the ticket link. Click that. It'll take you through a normal ticketing process. Pick your seat. Check out right there. It'll be an awesome experience. I think folks that are used to seeing Bama play at Coleman Coliseum in front of 15,000 people, or at the BJCC Legacy Arena, you see 15,000 people in there. This will be 2,000 people right on top of the floor, really loud. Wake Forest is a really good basketball program as well, obviously. They're top 30 team in the country coming in. Bama, I know Bama fans don't like to hear this. There is still a number 1 team in the country named Alabama. It's just our basketball team.
Yeah.
So if you are a fan of number 1 Alabama teams, this is your chance to see a number 1 team.
Man, this is, I'm looking at it, you still got some really good tickets available.
Oh, yeah.
At $92.50, which is a good price point, too, for an intimate venue like that.
For sure, yeah. And like anything on the floor is going to come with a pregame hospitality, so you'll have a meal and some drinks to go with your seat. So if you're looking at, a hospitality or entertainment option, I would encourage you to get out on the floor. If you're not, bringing a family or something like that, maybe look at some of those other seats. But yeah, a lot of great seats in the building.
BamaandBoutwell.com. If I can't make it to the game, but I would like to keep up with it, how do I do that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We'll be streaming the game. We have secured probably what I would consider some of the best color and play-by-play guys in the business. The next round is going to be hosting the game for us. So there you go.
Yeah. And streaming where?
Streaming on YouTube through the Hibbett channel. We'll put that out. You'll see all that. But grateful for you guys jumping in. Again, we love the next round. Love you guys. You guys are great friends. You guys know Alabama athletics as well as anybody. So we're looking forward to a good time.
All right. We get another shot, boys.
Yeah, you get another shot, guys.
Auburn fans might disagree with you, but
we're not going to program you to as much as maybe they did last time you did this.
Not going to be jumping on left and right.
Yeah, we're not going to be doing any of that.
Man, we've got a new project coming
up. Not going to be doing any of that.
Yeah.
So,
any new people at the zoo we need to talk to?
Lessons learned on that, guys. You will be talking basketball and maybe some Nike product stuff that's going on and stuff like that, but nothing outside of the norm.
All right. So
it says here in my contract, I don't know about you guys, but I get a pair of the new Jaw 2s.
Hey, we'll see what happens, boys. We'll see what happens.
That's what Nike wants.
He tried to angle with Nate Oates on this before. It didn't work.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. We might have a little something up our sleeve for you guys.
I expect you to say, Jim, you don't even know what the hell a Jaw 2 is, do you?
Hey, Jim, I've seen the Jaw 2s. You'll look fly in those Jaw 2s, so don't worry about that.
All right. October 18th, BamaandBoutwell.com to purchase tickets. We'll make sure you get all the links to where you can watch the game if you're not able to go there. We are excited about doing another SEC basketball game.
And we'll wait for our assignment on who the play-by-play guy is and the analyst. And
yes, we'll figure all that out probably just before we hit air. Michael Eady, 980 Group. Thanks, Michael. Always good to see you, buddy.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep. No more quad boxes. You guys are joking in the chat room. No quad boxes. All right. Thank you, guys. We're back with you tomorrow. Don't forget Bama and Bourbon coming up here momentarily on the platform. There's new stuff over at covercrimson.com. Mick has a new video out with Mike Johnson. You can go check that out, the former Alabama offensive lineman. And, of course, all the new stuff from including the Top Button podcast with Kyle Rush over at thebarnauburn.com. Thanks for being with us. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.